2 o'clock today as we walk you through the Week 6 action here in college football. We'll also get a little Braves talk in as the Braves pull even with the Cardinals after a 3-0 win last night at SunTrust Park. Big games on the board early. A couple of ranked teams, a few ranked teams of note getting together so we get some quality football. And Georgia going up the road, taking on Tennessee, which should not be close at any point in the game, but we still will see how Kirby's troops perform. John Michaels, how are you doing? First of all, it's good to see you. It's good to be with you. It's good to be working with you. How are you doing?
This feels like
Saturday
2005, 2006 all over again. I think I'm a little bit heavier. I'm a lot grayer.
You too?
I'm definitely a lot more matured from where we were. Because typically if we would have worked together in 2006 on a Saturday morning at 11 a.m.
I'd just be getting here.
I'd just be getting here first and foremost. I'd have a pickaxe in the side of my head. I'd be popping Advil trying to get over what was last night at Club 112. So it feels good to be up, be coherent, be ready to roll. Now, I can't say that at about 5:30 this afternoon as Miami and Virginia Tech are playing.
And that is your team. You are a Miami fan through and through.
It is nice to also be able to show up to work wearing my team's favorite colors as well. So I'm excited to be here. It's a huge day of college football, and we finally get some matchups that maybe will get some movement along the top 10.
Yeah, and finally, it's taken a few weeks. Obviously, everybody has to go through the steps. You get these smaller schools, you beat up on them. You get one or two classic or kickoff games, you go through them. Then we get into where we are today. Halfway through, a few undefeated teams will be meeting up. Some SEC movement will take place, and then we'll get a little bit more of a clearer picture, and we still now can look to the scoreboard to see if there will be an upset alert anywhere now that we have some meaningful games starting to approach.
I read a stat somewhere. This is the first time that the top 6 in the preseason AP top 10 is the exact same top 6 as we move into October.
Wow.
So think about that. Usually by now we've had one of those head-scratching upsets. We've had one of those games where you go, what the hell happened to this team? And I guess the only thing that's been close so far is Clemson almost losing to North Carolina. And I guarantee this entire week, Mac Brown's been kicking himself in the rear end going, why the hell did I run triple option like I was Paul Johnson with 2 yards to gain against the defending national champions?
Yeah, they're going to have some questions to answer only because they got out of North Carolina by the skin of their teeth when they hit the field next for Clemson, but they didn't lose. And I'm a little bit old school. Until the champs are beaten, they are still the champs. They still should be number one. Now, obviously, Alabama going to jump them in the polls for a while, but they did not lose. You're going to have a scare or two, a couple of blips on the radar. They did not lose. However, there were some things that North Carolina did that might put some film on some tape for some other coaches down the road.
What's funny is it's not just been North Carolina. Clemson hasn't been sharp all year long. Even the game against Texas A&M, I thought they were really good defensively. I thought Brent Venables drew up a great defensive game plan. But offensively, something's been off. And when you've got T. Higgins and Justin Ross and Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne and Lynn J. Joseph and all of these stars, how are you struggling to score points in Chapel Hill, North Carolina? It's not like you're going against Dean Smith.
Right.
It's not like you're going against Roy Williams. You're going against Mac Brown, who's 137 years old, and his staff. They've got a quarterback playing middle linebacker, and you couldn't move the ball against them.
Georgia up the road, and I like this. I like the fact that now Georgia's in a position where they're not all 3:30 games. Obviously, you don't have a problem playing the sweet spot. I like the night games. And so 7 o'clock kickoff up in Knoxville. A lot of the football action will be done. A lot of more eyes will be on the Bulldogs. They've already had a night game, so they're prepared for that. Hoyt, I know you are going to take great pleasure in whatever the final score is going to be. And I think Kirby should hammer these guys. This is a situation where a program in Tennessee is way off course, way out of the recruiting hunt of getting great players, way down the line from being close to getting back on track. And Kirby Smart should take this opportunity to give them something that they will remember for a long time.
Well, and I personally believe there is still bad blood between Kirby and Chaney. I really do.
That too.
And I think, how do you run it up, though? If you're a defensive guy going up against an OC, how do you run it up on him? Do you send more? Do you send a message? You got a true freshman back there. I ain't taking it easy on you this afternoon. I'm going to show you some looks that I haven't shown on tape all year. I'm going to show some exotic things up there. I'm interested to see what Kirby does. Here's what I'm more interested in, though, off the field. Can we check her out that place?
Ooh, good question.
I mean, that is the
ultimate.
ultimate.
There fatigue? Now, obviously,
We
the
had the
Dog
Vanderbilt.
Nation, yes. Dog Nation showed up in Vandy. Dog Nation surely showed up at home for Notre Dame.
Right.
Are they going to show up in the same drill? Is there do you need a 20-second timeout to recover? Do you need to go up to Knoxville to watch this team put up 52 points today?
There isn't, but how many times can you go into a 100,000-seat stadium in Neyland and actually take over? Like, it's very rare. They got to be down. You got to be up at your best.
Right.
It's the ultimate troll job if you can do it. And this is coming from the king of the trolls.
Right.
If you can go in and get red and black, and I don't care if it's just 4 sections, if you can make 4 sections look like a checkerboard, that is the ultimate troll job. And you want to think losing to Georgia State was embarrassing? Let someone come in and do your gimmick in your stadium. That's the most embarrassing thing that would happen this year in college football.
See, I don't think Dogs fans are going to have a problem getting up there. First of all, you had a bye week. You're coming off the emotional high of beating Notre Dame. And there's actually some Georgia fans that are mad that they didn't win by enough. And I tell you, hush. You beat a top 10 football team. That's all that matters as you're trying to get to the college football playoff. Style points don't matter. Just win. Tennessee is basically giving away tickets right now. They want people in the stadium no matter what color they're wearing. I hope Georgia goes up there, embarrasses the hell out of Jeremy Pruitt, embarrasses the hell out of Jim Chaney, and all those overall wearing Tennessee fans that are going to be there. I don't understand why my boat's out here. My team's not very good. Well, they haven't been good in 15 years. Should have kept Phil Fulmer.
Now, here's the interesting thing. This is the one game that Jake Fromm has actually looked human in his time at Georgia is against Tennessee. His stats are not all that great. Now, you had the 41-0 blowout up in Knoxville 2 years ago. That was a lot of the defense doing that work. Last year in Athens, if you remember correctly, it was a dogfight. Yes, Georgia controlled the entire game, but I'll still remember. You remember Nada scoring on that play. He gives up the sack off the end. Fromm gets hit, fumbles the ball. Nada's like, ooh, a football. Picks it up and runs in. It hasn't been his prettiest games that he's played either in Knoxville or down here in Athens. I'm kind of looking for Fromm to turn it up, too.
Well, I also think this is not a game where you need to get cute. Just because you clearly are overmatching Tennessee today, you don't need to get cute. I don't think you need to, try to throw yourself to 4 touchdown leads or anything like that. Just play dog football. But I'm with you. If you want to ask the question, how do you rub it in? Yeah, blitz. They're going to start a true freshman quarterback in Tennessee today. I would make this the most difficult day of his football life. And I'm talking about the first time he ever walked onto a Pop Warner football field, some bad game he was having in high school. This needs to be his worst day of existence, and I would send all of the dogs, and I would not come off defensively at all for 4 quarters if I'm Kirby Smart today.
I do agree with something John said where he was talking about Notre Dame and just get out with the W. Let's remember, though, I mean, it was 2 weeks ago. A lot of people, and I'm talking national, and they might not have watched the entire game or they might have only seen that Georgia play that game this entire season. They came out more impressed with Notre Dame in that game than they did Georgia. And, yes, at the end of the day, you win out, you're in the playoffs regardless. There is a human element to this, though. We are letting these guys pick who's going to be the top 4 teams. There is something about game control and the way you do it that factors into all this, unfortunately. It's not the best 4 teams. It's who looks the best, who's the sexiest, and right now sexy is offensive numbers. If you're going to throw it up on somebody, throw it up on Tennessee today. You got a good chance to do it.
The best thing, though, with that is what you got a week ago, and that's Notre Dame beating a top 25 Virginia team. And Virginia played them well for a half, and then all of a sudden Notre Dame took over and controlled the game in the second half. That, to me, gives Georgia a lot more credence moving forward. And the fact that you have Florida playing well, and I know we all hate Florida and go Tigers today.
I'm actually cheering for Florida today.
Yeah, I'm not.
You can't do that. That's against you.
It should be against you. You can't cheer for them either.
Yeah, it's tough times for a lot of fan bases. Pick your poison today. But we're going to find out something. That's a big game. 2 undefeated teams in the SEC, different sides of the ledger, but an SEC game nonetheless, and a little bit of realness. We'll find out who is for real and who is the paper gator or the paper tiger this afternoon when the Auburn Tigers get on the field with the Florida Gators. I'm interested to see how potent the Florida offense can be.
Bingo.
And then how for real the Auburn defense. Will they be able to blow stuff up? Will they be able to take over and maul and make it a very uncomfortable game because of that Tiger defensive line? That's what I'm looking to see. If I see the Gators marching up and down the field, I'm not going to believe in Auburn anymore this year. And if I see Auburn smacking around the quarterback and getting a bunch of tackles for loss, I'm not going to believe in Florida and their offense anymore this year.
This will be the 2 best teams that Georgia will face defensively, especially in the front 7 entire year. It's going to be who's going to move the ball. We're going to say this, and we're going to think it's going to be like a 14-12 game, and just smash-mouth football. It's going to end up being like 41-38 or something like that. But I truly believe in Auburn's defense and Florida's defense. I believe a little bit in Gus Malzahn because he has proven in the past, and Bo Nix has not proven anybody wrong at this point. I think you're going to see some mistakes out of Bo Nix today. It's just going to happen when you go up against an elite defense. I don't know how Florida is going to move the ball up and down the field, though. I have no idea how.
See, I don't think Florida's an elite defense. Yeah, I saw them up close and personal, and they had 10 sacks. I thought that was more on the side of Miami's offensive line. And Jaron Williams holding the football too long. I didn't think they were elite defensively. They have some elite players. Jonathan Greenard off the edge is a monster. In the defensive backfield, they've got some great players. I'm more interested in the quarterback battle. Kyle Trask, since he's taken over for Felipe Franks, has probably saved Florida's season. First of all, they would have lost to Kentucky if Franks stays in that game. No doubt in my mind. He's completing like 75% of his passes.
He looks very comfortable.
Yes,
He's
he does.
getting the ball because they've got playmakers outside. They haven't been able to run the ball, and I don't think they can run it today.
Well, and there's something about him as well that I see. I see a leader. I don't see Felipe Franks, a fool, going to the opposing stands, running his mouth. Oh, you see how we shut you up there? And then immediately you turn the ball over on the next play. I see a guy that's leading by example, which is kind of what Florida needed. We all talked about there was a chance that they were going to go with the true freshman after that game when Felipe Franks went down, and they didn't, and they stuck with trash at this point. Trash at this point.
Freudian slip.
Exactly, on my part. But at this point, I still give the edge to Auburn's offense. I still trust Gus more than and here's the funny thing. We all talk about Dan Mullen's supposed to be a great coordinator when it comes to the offense, a great quarterback coach when it comes to the offense, and he's supposed to game plan. We're going to find out today because I think, honestly, he is the joke down in Florida. I think somehow him and Grantham are two jokes down there. Well, you've seen it enough. I've seen Grantham's defense, third and Grantham, all the time.
They keep talking about their names, but we're not seeing the results.
Correct.
You're right about that. Georgia Tech looking for some results. Tough sledding already for the Jackets, and they have tried to work through their offensive line situation, their quarterback situation. Tech hosting North Carolina today down on the flats. They may get a young man some work, which I think is a really smart move. Jordan Yates might be able to see some playing time. He is on the depth chart. I think it's smart to be able to utilize the rules where you can play a freshman 4 games or less and then not have to burn a red shirt. So you can mix and match certain things. If he gets in the game, I think it will be good for him because moving forward into next year, which is what all of this year is about for Georgia Tech, that would help that young man if he's able to see the field. But the biggest thing for me, they have to clean up the turnovers. They cannot score points right now. And the last thing they can do is have turnovers where you're fumbling and having balls on the ground that are returned for scores.
James Graham going to get the start today at quarterback. He's, I guess, the best they have right now.
There's no guess. He is the best they have.
And it's the lesser, I guess for me, it's the lesser of all the evils. I would start Yates right now and just say, let's let him play. Let's learn the offense. I know what Coach Collins is trying to do. He's trying to keep it an open competition and potentially redshirt the kid for next year because this year, and we'll get into this a little bit later on, I don't see a win on the rest of their schedule, and I hate it because Coach Collins is a tremendous guy. North Carolina, maybe you catch them this week coming off of the emotional letdown of not being able to beat Clemson. And they're a team, by the way, that's lost 3 straight since opening the year 2-0. But Sam Howell is a monster at quarterback. They've got a couple of receivers in Newsome and Brown who can go get it as well.
And if there's anything about the Tech defense that we actually like, it's the back end. So that might be a matchup that doesn't favor, per se, Tech, but you know what? Maybe you can compete with them there. When it comes to starting the freshmen, there's 2 ways to look at it. And we talked about it 2 weeks, home team, that just start the freshman at this point. It's not about wins and losses anymore. It's about developing the future, and getting a freshman out there is developing your future. I remember that North Carolina game where Georgia played North Carolina in the Chick-fil-A Bowl, or in the Chick-fil-A kickoff, and Grayson Lambert did the first 3 series. Kirby said, enough. I'm going to the future. I'm going to Jacob Eason. And Jacob Eason ended up finishing out that game and never let off the reins until he got hurt.
And you do have to be delicate because anytime you put a quarterback out there and you don't have the offensive line to protect him,
which they don't,
you don't get any work done. Well, number one, it's dangerous because then the guy's just going to be seeing ghosts and looking around and not learning anything. The other thing is you're not going to be moving the ball effectively. And 2, what good habits, what is he actually getting out of it? So you really have to pick your spots, and it's really difficult because you can't put him in too early in the season. You're trying to establish what your identity is. You might be playing lesser teams.
What is the identity, though?
Just get out there and see what happens.
Not good football is what the identity is.
That's where it is right now.
Honestly, if you're worried about the kids seeing ghosts, I mean, everyone else is seeing ghosts behind this offensive line. If you put Justin Fields or Jake Fromm or Tua back there, they'd be seeing ghosts too because they can't block anybody. Your partner speaks to it all the time. sometimes you just got to let a guy go out there and play. You see enough in practice, but the game is what dictates everything. Some guys turn it on in the game. Some guys turn it up. Let's find out what Yates has at this point.
There still is a difference, though, between 3rd and 8 and 3rd and 18 every time.
Oh, 100%.
And you don't want 3rd and 18 because then you're not really playing football.
Sure.
You're wearing your defense out. And then it's not a fun Saturday of football. You still want to be able to compete, even if you're getting a first down here and punting there, and your defense is able to get in and off the field. But if you have a situation where your quarterback cannot move the ball and he's not helping the team, you're not going to have a great day at all for anybody.
They haven't been moving the ball because they can't throw the ball.
Right.
And Clemson showed, all right, we're going to shove 8 in the box. We're going to single your receivers, and we're going to dare your quarterback to throw. So my thing is, whether it's Graham or whether it's Yates, at least you give the threat of the forward pass. And I think with nothing else, that helps your offensive line. Right now, your O-line's getting their asses kicked because you have guys that are playing downhill.
Well, it's a numbers game. Exactly, 100%. And it was Coach P, was it last week, saying when Tobias is in, we know exactly what we're doing. We're going to run the ball.
Right.
And then when we got other guys coming in, we're going to throw the ball. At least this way, you want to play a numbers game, maybe I can match up with you outside, and let's take our shots passing the ball.
Well, it's going to come down to ball security, offense. Georgia Tech just not able to score, and they have to find a way at home to keep that defense off the field, or else they're going to wear them out. When we get back, the hits keep coming for Tennessee just off the field. We'll get to that. Home team, Brian Hoyt, John Michaels. We are live from Sports and Social here in the Battery, Atlanta.
I need a drink.
College Game Day here on The Fan, 680, 93.7 FM.
There is no better feeling
It's gonna be a
than
huge
being in the
game
car
for
and
you
hearing
as
the
the
show
Braves
open
and
hit.
Cardinals
There's
take
no
back
better
the
feeling.
series
I'm trying to
after
think how many
St.
times
Louis.
that's happened.
Just a friendly reminder, we're on the stream.
Yeah, so we're always on the stream. So anything,
Watch your mouth.
no, the FCC doesn't watch. But if you're gonna trash Terry Fox or anything, you don't.
This is the only place to be for the play.
Hey, the caller dropped, home team.
Unrivaled flagship coverage.
Hard hit ball to deep right field.
Okay.
Heads up in the chop house. Gone.
This is the Fan 680 and 93.7 FM.
This is Sarah Beth Brown with Brown & Company Jewelers, here with Brown & Company Ambassador Tom Glavin. We are talking about gift giving and how it can be hard to find something unique and special for your loved ones year after year.
One thing I do know is that if the gift is from Brown, it's going to be a hit. Brown & Company has the great wish list concept, where you can go into the store and try on whatever you like and create a wish list.
We have couples that create wish lists all the time. So come on in and create your wish list at Brown & Company on Holcomb Bridge Road in Roswell and Peachtree Road in Buckhead. Online at brownjewelers.com. See you soon.
The regular season is underway, and the storylines are beginning to unfold. Will a team go 16-0, currently sitting at 5-1? And at 6-1, will a team remain winless the rest of the season? Let's not forget individual team championship odds, and of course, will a QB win MVP? Follow all the action at betonline.net as the top teams in football continue down their road to Miami. Before the next kickoff, head over to betonline.net on your laptop or mobile device and check out the site today. Bring the game home at betonline.net.
Guys, the Matts are back again. Matt Chernoff and my pal Matt Breda from Breda Pest Management. The question today is, does your pest control technician come inside your home, or does he give you the outside-only pest control treatment?
We hear so often about outside-only pest control today. Companies sell their hearts out to homeowners, and my favorite, the scare tactics about the usage of pesticides inside a home. But you see, roaches, they shed their skin, and those skin molts, they cause so many respiratory issues with small children and seniors. But you're never going to see that evidence by doing the outside of the home only. So much of what we do today is inspection and education. It's imperative your pest control technician gives you a clean bill of health inside and outside your home.
You guys have heard me talk about Tom. He's our technician and has been for a long time. He's always on time and always provides a valuable tip each time. He helps to keep our home pest free.
We believe in value of service, and you can't get that value with a 10-minute outside-only pest control treatment.
The no-brainers to make the switch to Breda Pest Management online at BredaPest.com. It's spelled B-R-E-D-A, BredaPest.com.
Matt Stinchcomb here for Engineered Solutions of Georgia, proud partner of the Georgia Bulldogs. When was the last time you had your basement crawl space checked out? There could be an entire ecosystem of creatures living right under your home, and there could be mold. Your solution? Have a liner installed underneath your house to keep the humidity and other things you don't want out of your home. It'll also lower your utility costs and save you money over time. This particular job's pretty hard to do and difficult to do on your own, so you want to hire a professional that knows what they're doing. Give Engineered Solutions of Georgia a call at 678-ESOG now. Matt Stinchcomb here again for ASW Distillery. You know what a lot of folks associate with college football season? Bourbon, especially bourbon from Georgia's hometown whiskey distillery, ASW. I've known ASW Distillery founders Charlie and Jim since our days at UGA, and I routinely give their Fiddler bourbon as gifts on my travels throughout the season. Head over to either of ASW's Atlanta locations in Buckhead or in the West End for a tour and tasting of their whiskey and cocktails, or pick up Fiddler for bottle shop. ASW Distillery, delicious whiskey distilled by dogs.
1 minute.
Integrity and value gets the job done right. Over 25 years we've been on the scene. Professional service, a reliable team. Superior, the honest one. Call 770-422 club. Superior, the honest one. Call 770-422 club. Ooh, superior. Ooh, superior. For any plumbing needs, you can count on us. For value and service, we're the ones to trust. We're there when you need us, so pick up the phone. With Superior Plumbing, you're never alone. Superior, the honest one. Call 770-422 club. Superior.
How about last night, by the way?
Oh, the game? Did you come? I came.
I did. How was it?
It was a good buzz, good crowd. Everybody was into it, doing what they were supposed to be doing.
I was just so proud of Fulte.
He gave it
I
to
could
us.
have cut that. How about last night? Did you come?
680 The Fan.
Good.
Powered by Georgia.
Stand by.
Derek, can you turn me up in my ears?
Keeping you up to speed on all the afternoon college action. The
Hoyt
Fan's
up.
College Game
And a
Day.
check 1,
Live
2.
from
Hoyt up
sports
in
and
his ears.
social.
You can go all the way up.
Biggest
I'm
college
deaf.
football station in the
Thanks,
country.
buddy.
The Fan. 680 and 93.7 FM.
Welcome back in to College Game Day live from Sports and Social here in the Battery, Atlanta. Home team Brandon Leak, Brian Hoyt, John Michaels. We are here until 2 o'clock. We'll get you ready for Georgia Tech to take on UNC. That will follow us here on the Fan 680 93.7 FM. Coming up in about 5 minutes, will this be the toughest thing for UGA to win again? We'll get to that. But the hits just keep on coming for Tennessee. It is coming off the field. And look, I agree with what Nick Saban said weeks ago when he was giving the analogy or the story about how he had a player when he was at Michigan State. Muhsin Muhammad was a player who had some trouble off the field, and everybody wanted him out. They wanted him gone, throw him away. And I would say, I think a lot of people feel that way, and I think a lot of it is a little bit of hate. People think you should just go to college. You have a great opportunity. You're doing something you love. You play football. And if you mess up, the heck with you. Get out of here. We'll get somebody else who can appreciate the opportunity. And they're a little hesitant on the forgiveness. So I did appreciate what Nick Saban was saying, that he went on to be an NFL player. He has 7 children. One of his children is going to an Ivy League school. And what would that guy have been had you just discarded him when he made a mistake as a college football player? I get that.
You never know.
You don't.
That being said, you got to have a line.
And Jeremy Banks crossed the line.
Tennessee linebacker Jeremy Banks, who already was in hot water. The video surfaced earlier the week where he was arrested. He had a suspended situation on his license. He didn't take care of it. Busted a U-turn in the middle of the street. Officers found him. They pulled him out of the car. He went and did what they asked him to do, but his license was suspended. Ends up giving a cell phone to one of the officers so he could call Coach Jeremy Pruitt. And the officer could talk to him. The officer said, "It's nothing we can do. We have to take him." That being said, an old video surfaces. He's threatening a woman. He's slapping a phone out of her face. He's got to go. And so he has been dismissed from the program. The question is, where is the line? And you think anytime you're dealing with law enforcement, and that entire ride was certainly embarrassing for the program, but somebody can have a bad moment. The other thing is the quote of where I'm from, we shoot cops.
Yeah, that's the line where it's over with. Now, we've seen situations, unfortunately, where there have been situations with a guy and a woman. We had DeAndre Johnson at Florida State where he punched the girl. Okay, there's no tolerance with that. You've got to go. We've also seen phony allegations, and I forgot which one of the FSU players it was. May have been Dalvin Cook, as a matter of fact, where the girl said she got beat up, and they've come to find out she wasn't doing any, or it was all made up.
It was lies.
So you have to come and be very careful with that. But the situation that plays out when there's a video of you saying where we're from, we shoot cops.
Oh, boy.
I can't have you on my football team because now how could I walk into somebody else's household and say, this is the culture that we're fostering at Tennessee?
Here's my major issue, and this goes back big picture home team. Does forgiveness depend on the amount of stars you have next to your name?
I don't think necessarily. I think there is a scale. There is the infraction.
If he's a 2-star, are we okay with it?
There is.
It's easy to make an example
it's
of a
easier
guy.
on the recruiting budget, too.
Yeah.
And you're talking about a kid that had 1 tackle in a volunteer uniform. So it is a little easier to do so. However, when you look at these matters, to John's point, if you're dealing with a domestic situation and you're certainly dealing with law enforcement and these words that came out of his mouth about law enforcement, I don't think it matters if he was a 2-star, 3-star, or a starter.
Hoyt, I want to ask you, how drunk or high do you have to be to utter those words with cops around? Like there's a point of intoxication that you get to, and we've all been there at times, and I'm sure I've said some really embarrassing things when I'm super drunk.
Yeah, but I said them to the big guy in the bar,
right?
Not the officer with a gun on his hip and a star on his pocket. You know what I mean?
And with my arms behind my back in handcuffs.
Exactly. Like Mama
okay, maybe once, but that's okay.
Mama told me one thing. When the cop pulls you over, it's yes, sir, no, sir. That's it.
That's it.
Like, shut up, and it's yes, sir, and no, sir. I mean, Kirby Smart drew the line when it came to J.J. Holloman. Look, hands on a woman, you got to go. That's my rule. If it's weed, if it's something else, if it's being out at bars, we can fix that. You lay your hands on a woman, you got to go. And so there are lines for most of these coaches, and I truly believe, especially with Jeremy Pruitt, that was his line. It's got to go. And sadly, we talked about Mujib Muhammad and Saban wanting to help him. I really do think this comes down to the recruiting and your team. And unfortunately, I don't think head coaches are in it, unfortunately, to help the player. I think they are what's best about the team first and foremost.
I'm going to disagree a little bit. And the only reason I say is I think most coaches do care about the players who do care. They get around a lot of guys, 100 guys every year, and there's some guys who don't care and don't want to be there and have a bad attitude. I do think a lot of coaches care, and I think there's also something – there are a lot of things behind the scenes that we never see.
You're right.
You don't know if the guy came in with a strike against him. You don't know if the guy was on a slippery slope before he got in front of a cop car or a cop camera or he's on YouTube. So there's a lot of things we don't know, but I wouldn't say that coaches just don't care.
You get paid for wins and losses, though, at the end of the day. Let's go down to one of the dirtiest programs in all the country when Urban was there at Florida. I mean, again, we always joke about it. That program killed more people in the U.S. than Ebola did.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
I mean, and he was willing to keep an Aaron Hernandez there and other players there at the sake of winning. He knew what was all going on. They all talk about it in the locker room afterwards when they got out. They all knew what was going on. It just ultimately, I think it depends on what kind of a player are you, and can I forgive that?
I want to go back to something you said to start this whole conversation, home team, where, there's some people that just immediately want to throw these kids out. For me, age, maturity comes with age, and we all get older, and we all make different, we think differently than what we did in the past.
100%.
But we also tend to forget what we were at 18 to 22. When I was 18 to 22 years old, did I make a lot of stupid decisions? Absolutely. We all did, because we were finding our way. It was our first point of freedom. We were away from our parents. So I'm with you, Hoyt, if it's the party foul scenario. If you get busted underage drinking, all right, you're going to run stadium steps till you puke, and I'm probably going to suspend you for a quarter.
The Bobby Bowden way.
Yeah, exactly. If you get caught with weed, let's be real, it's going to be legal in this country really soon anyway.
We'll be the last one.
As long as you're not out there selling, quantities, you're not on the Greyhound bus.
That's distribution.
Yeah, you don't have a duffel bag full of weed. I'm okay with you still playing on my football
Agreed.
team. Even if you get in a fight on campus with another dude, because let's be real, when you're on a college campus, a lot of testosterone, a lot of alcohol.
Yep.
We're all hitting on the same women. We're going to fight. I can deal with
When
that.
you say hitting on the same one, you mean trying to talk.
Yeah, like talking.
Yes,
Yeah.
Please, let's be clear on the fan, 680, 93.7
Yeah, exactly.
FM.
I'm not actually talking about punching a woman.
Right.
But when you get to that, when it becomes something with police that's documented like this, when it comes to women, when it comes to drugs beyond weed, like if you're doing cocaine, you got to be off my football team. You're doing heroin, you're done. I don't need you on my team
Smoking
anymore.
crack.
Yeah, if you're distributing meth, that's the end.
Walter White, number 86, tight end.
Goodness. Yeah, I think it is an interesting conversation because you don't want to just cut a guy off, but there are times when you need to cut bait, and I think this is one of those times. It was already highly embarrassing, and now reports that Tennessee already had known about the video where he slapped the phone out of the young lady's hands and threatened her, and so they buried that or allowed that to kind of go on without addressing it. Now it's come to the light, and now they have to deal with it later.
Well, look at Pruitt's phone call with the cop. Are you sure we can't get this taken care of? I mean, we all know that happens, and that happens, though, underneath. You never hear of it happening.
Right.
You know what I mean? When they have a recording of Pruitt saying that stuff, it's just not a good look. Same thing with if I read threatening a cop in an ESPN magazine or an article, I'm like, okay, he threatened a cop. When I see a video, when we see the video of Ray Rice, all of a sudden things move up 10 steps. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you fellas this. How much of this, and I'm a big believer, you don't blame others for the actions of others, but how much of this comes down to the coach? And I ask that to say, I have seen a head college coach lay down the law. You will go to class. You will go to study hall. You will be kicked off the team if you put your hands on a woman. Anybody has any problems with law enforcement, you're out of here forever. So I have seen a college football coach lay down the law. How much of this falls on the coach to at least put that in everybody's mind? So if you do get into a situation like Jeremy Banks, it is all on you, and there's nothing else I can do to help you.
I get so mad at this, and I've argued with so many Georgia fans when Mark Richt was the coach. How come Richt doesn't have control? You're talking about 100-and-something kids.
That's true.
That you get to spend 20 hours, 30 hours a week with, that's it. They have, 17 hours of the rest of the day where they're not around their program. The coach can do everything that he wants. When a kid gets out, and again, I don't know if alcohol was involved. I'm just making an assumption that it was. When a kid gets out with his friends that may not necessarily be football players, and you start making tainted decisions, Jeremy Pruitt can't be responsible for this. What he can be responsible for is the consequences that comes from it. Now, had he allowed the kid to stay on the team,
now you're responsible for that
now
kid.
anything that happens moving forward, it's on you. First time, it's not on you.
It's College Game Day live from Sports and Social here in the Battery, Atlanta. You can give us a call, 404-231-1680. And we want to remind you all season long, this is the place that you want to be because we have a very special prize and award we are going to hand out at the end of this season. We have a conference championship game day experience that we are going to have a lucky listener win. That includes pregame at Sports and Social, transportation to 680 The Fan's championship tailgate and party, and 2 tickets. 2 tickets to the championship game in the Benz December 7th.
What kind of experience was that?
That's a championship tailgate experience.
I love how you can't say any of the particular names, so you've got that stadium in downtown.
Where the red team plays on Sundays.
What I was asking, he hit an octave on
I
day
had the frog in my throat. Yeah, don't let me loose. Maybe be better. All you have to do is make sure that you come down here to Sports and Social. We will register people all year long, and also we'll give away a VIP table here at Sports and Social for the conference championship with a $2,000 tab. Even Hoyt can't go through.
We're getting close to that thing. We've done 6 weeks up here.
We're halfway through,
We're
brother.
Getting up there.
We're halfway through. Go to 680thefan.com/championship to register. You want to go out to the phones?
Let's do it.
404-231-1680. Let's go out to the phones and let's talk to Steve. Thank you for calling us here on the Fan, 680 93.7 FM. How you doing, Steve?
I agree.
Yeah.
Going once.
Good point, Steve.
Twice.
3 times.
Third time.
Lady.
Go. All right. Steve had some things he wanted to say about Florida. I don't think he liked the word joke that you used.
Oh, whatever.
Earlier in the show about
his jorts were a
coaches.
little too tight to get to the phone. I don't think he could get the phone out of his jorts.
Oh,
that was
no.
the problem.
This might be something that Georgia might have a tough time winning. I was thinking about this. Will it be tough for UGA to get another Heisman Trophy winner? And I say so because when you look at the last 6 years of Georgia football and the last 6 years of talent, the Gurleys, the Sony Michels, the Nick Chubbs, the DeAndre Swifts, the Jake Fromms, you go on the defensive side of the ball as well, when you're talking about massive impact on a game every single week, the best of the best.
Roquan, a Butkus winner, but he didn't get a sniff in the Heisman.
Is it going to be difficult because Kirby has so much talent that the talent is spread out evenly, and the style that they're playing, they're going to have a running back stable, so there won't be one guy with goo gobs of yards and nobody else is touching the ball, and a quarterback, unless something changes drastically, who won't be throwing for 5,000 yards.
You had Kirk Herbstreit earlier this year before the season started talk about Jake Fromm was a Heisman candidate. And it was one of the biggest jokes I had heard. Have you not seen, first off, Kirby run this offense and what he wants to do specifically with it? And now we're seeing the numbers that's not going to pan out. To me, the Heisman is almost an old man award. Does that make any sense? It just, and that's not to knock your boy Joe Ham, who came runner-up and everything else.
Who should have won the Heisman,
He was
by the
cheated,
way.
in my opinion.
He was.
He won't say it. I'll say it for him. He should have been the Heisman Trophy.
But do kids even care about the Heisman now? Like a DeAndre Swift right now, does he care about that, or does he care about getting 200 less touches and going to the next level? You know what I mean in the NFL?
I know who does care. Jalen Hurts cares. Mm-hmm. I think he wants that Heisman.
And that's a quarterback thing, and maybe he does. But a guy like up in Wisconsin, why am I blanking? Jonathan Taylor. He's going to put those yards and those hits on him over and over again because he's getting the number one rep and he's carrying the ball an immense number of times. A guy like DeAndre Swift, in the first 2 years of his career at Georgia, didn't carry it more than 16 times a game.
Right.
All he cares about are those touches at the next level. How do I get to the next level and get that paycheck? So if you're telling me Heisman on one side or paycheck on the other side, forget my carries. Screw that. I'm going to go get my money and have fresh legs when I get to the next level.
I think to a point, but I think that's also realizing that you're not going to win the Heisman. It's easy to say, hey, I don't care about it because I'm not going to win it. Ask Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson how they felt. Marcus Mariota was up there in tears winning the Heisman. They realize what it means. To answer your question, their home team, no. Georgia's not going to have one until they change their offense to suit one position, and that's quarterback. It's a quarterback award now. If you go back to 2000.
You're right about that.
Go back to 2000. There have been, I believe, 3 running backs that have won the Heisman Trophy. Reggie Bush, and he's still a Heisman Trophy winner. The NCAA can stick it for their nonsense with Reggie Bush.
He had to give it back.
They took it
It's
away.
still his. Mark Ingram won it in 2009, and the only other one was Derrick Henry. So think about that. From 2000 to 2018, the only running backs to win it were 2 Bama running backs who got it 35 times a game, and Reggie Bush, who's one of the most electric players that's ever played in college football. The awards changed to be a quarterback-driven award. Georgia doesn't play in a quarterback-driven system, so no, they're not going to win one anytime
And
soon.
Kirby doesn't want to. If I've got the best offensive line, if I've got 5 stars all across that line, why wouldn't I pound you over and over again? Kirby got brought in here not to bring in a Heisman Trophy candidate. He got brought in here to win a national championship. And the way you do that is, if you've got a guy like Tua or a guy like Jalen Hurts, who we all think, and we'll throw Justin Fields in there, we all think are right now leading, Joe Burrows as well. So 4. They're throwing the ball around. If I take one of those guys away, though, what is your other plan? And I ask you that because if you take away my running game, I still know Fromm can throw the ball when you stack the box and vice versa. You're seeing it now. Everybody thought Trevor Lawrence was going to be the number 1 Heisman candidate coming out this year. They haven't had to. They got ETN back there they can hand the ball off to. It doesn't have to be a one-man show. And ultimately, if you want to win in this game, if you want to hold up that stupid little gold trophy they've got now, you've got to have more than just throwing the ball around. And so, as a Georgia fan, I don't care about the Heisman. I care about the national championship. That's the most important thing to me at the end of all of this.
Are we gonna have
It's that simple.
It is. That was very well put, Brian Hoyt. Are we going to have a big upset early this season? Usually upsets come a little later. It looks like the way that the schedule lays out, we do have Auburn and Florida today. Somebody is losing. So,
but is that an upset?
That's not an upset game. Who would be on upset? Who's the team that's been propped up that could be set up? Is it LSU?
No.
I don't think it's them. Is it Alabama?
No.
I don't think it's them. Is it Georgia? I don't think it's them. I think we're kind of in a holding pattern right now. I don't see a big upset on the horizon.
Here's where it normally happens, though. It's conference play.
Yep.
It comes into conference play when you're playing against somebody that you will go against every year. Last year, Ohio State had no business losing to Purdue. They gave up 55 in the game and the loss. The year before, they got blown out by, what was it, Iowa. So, those are when conference upsets happen. It has been weird this year, though, and I don't know how I feel about it as a fan that's outside of the top 10. There's really a line of demarcation at 6 or 7 teams. It's Bama, it's Clemson, it's Georgia, it's Ohio State, it's Oklahoma. You can throw Auburn in the mix and LSU. Those are the 7 teams. And Auburn, I know Auburn fans get mad. I'm still going, all right, you beat Oregon, but the Pac-12's been known to lay down a lot.
Do it today. They
Yeah.
can set a lot of people up, but they do it today.
Win to Florida, you're in that echelon, and there's no doubt about it. You're a national title contender. I don't put Florida there because I don't trust them. I don't have Penn State there because I don't trust them. Michigan has proven who they are by getting blown out by Wisconsin.
Tired of them.
So I don't trust any of those teams. But you are going to see some of these top 10 teams get taken care of eventually. I just don't know who. I guess if I go through that list and I'm putting in the back of my mind, who do I think has the best chance of being truly upset?
Is Wisconsin in that group, by the way, that you just mentioned?
No.
Okay.
Not yet. They're there. They're close.
Because I would put them as the team that's going to be upset. They were almost upset last week, and I feel like if there was one that was going to be, it would be them if they were in that group.
I just think of that group who's going to get upset. And when I mean upset is somebody outside of the top 15 knocks them off. I don't know that I have one right now. And it's weird to say. I just think those teams are head and shoulders above anybody that's in those lower tiers.
The only one I could give you, and this is almost ridiculous to say it the way that Jalen's been playing this year, is Oklahoma, though. And the only reason I say that is because when you get into conference play, when you get into that Big 12, every single one of those teams can score with you.
Everybody can throw the ball.
Every single one of them. And so if you want to get in a shootout, like if you're going to play game control and you're going to slow down the game and you're just going to be physical, it's hard to lose that game. When you do man-on-man and you go physical and the best guys normally come out on top. You want to do shootouts? Sometimes you can just have somebody who's just on fire that day, who's just matching up. And I think a shootout is where you're going to see an upset come from. It's not going to be a Alabama going physical against an Ole Miss or someone like that.
So neither one of you thinks today Michigan State's defense, and they play salty defense, can slow down Ohio State and make it interesting?
I don't think so. Here's what I'm curious to see. I want to see what they do to Justin Fields, but I don't think it's an upset alert. I honestly, as you said, and you said it perfectly, we are at a line of demarcation. These 6 or 7 best teams in America, they are just the best. And I'm talking recruiting-wise, I'm talking physically, I'm talking coaching, everything. And maybe that's the new NCAA we live in, honestly. Maybe there aren't 10, 15 good teams out there. Maybe that's just the world we live in now.
I think if Justin Fields hadn't shown that he could throw the ball as well as he has early this season, there might be a little bit of conversation there. He's shown you he can throw the ball. He's shown you he can run the ball. He's shown you he can run from long distances at the goal line. So, no, I don't think so. So, yeah, maybe that could be the one. Based on what I've seen from Justin Fields, I don't think that's going to be the one.
My biggest question for them coming into the year was, can it be a seamless transition from Urban Meyer to Ryan Day? Great, Ryan Day had coached 3 games a year ago. That's fine. It might be an upgrade right now.
Dude, it's better. It's rolling better.
Yeah.
And I guess the one thing that all these teams have, and let's take Justin out of it just for 1 second because he's the new guy there. Joe Burrow, veteran quarterback. Jake Fromm, Jalen Hurts, Tua, Trevor Lawrence. He plays like one. You know what I mean? So that's hard. It's hard to upset a team when you've got that good of quarterback play under center.
All right, when we get back, we're going to save some lives. Why you should sleep with your bedroom door closed.
And
Don't
locked.
ask me.
And locked, home team.
We're
That
going to
way
save your life.
you don't get caught.
Coming up next, home team, Brian Hoyt, John Michaels. We're live from Sports and Social,
People just
Week
barging
6, here live on College Game Day on the Fan, 680, 93.7 FM.
Tomorrow night, it's going to be a huge Game 3 as the Braves and Cardinals take the Division Series out to St. Louis, and the Fan is loaded. With 680 Game Day, the Ford leadoff show, and every pitch of Game 3 from Busch Stadium.
1-1 to Acuna. He sends one soaring. Deep left field. Way back to the wall and gone!
This is the only place to be for the playoffs, because only the Fan brings you that unrivaled flagship coverage.
Hard hit ball to deep right field. Heads up in the chop house. Gone!
This is the Fan, 680 and 93.7 FM.
Where would we have been without them? They first laughed at Henry and his horseless carriage. They ridiculed a couple of brothers for even imagining they could fly like a bird. And they scoffed at 2 young Steves. Yet they launched a technological revolution from a California garage that changed the world. These were the dreamers, the mavericks, the crazy ones, and they changed everything. And no entrenched establishment ever begged to be transformed more than traditional realty. With its ridiculous commissions, its newbie agents, its lesser standards. So along came another dreamer, a maverick, a crazy one. who said,
"We can do it better. We'll put the client first, add massive value, and make more money by changing what real estate costs and the way it is done."
That agent, Rhonda Duffy.
Selling over 30,000 Atlanta homes, saving millions in commissions.
So here's to the crazy ones. Here's to Rhonda Duffy, Duffy Realty of Atlanta.
This is Derek's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
After the third time jump-starting my car, I finally realized my battery was dying. So I stopped by O'Reilly to have it checked. They tested it right there in the parking lot. It was bad, real bad. But they helped me find the right battery for my car and even installed it for free. Now my car starts like new.
Hey guys, Chris Domino for Central Heating and Air Conditioning, and maybe it's just about time we're going to get a little bit of a break in the weather, but you know what that means? The cold stuff is right around the corner, and I ask, is your furnace ready to make sure that your house and your family's health is going to be where you want it to be this upcoming winter? Visit us at centralheat.com for Carrier products and warranties. They are one of the few second-generation locally owned HVAC companies in Atlanta. With Central, you're not just a number, you're a member of the family. It's been that way since 1947, and it's still that way today. Give Central a call at 770-GET-HEAT. Turn to Central, your Atlanta Carrier experts.
Stop working for someone else and start working for you. How great does that sound? Hey guys, Hudson Mason here for Grassroots Turf Franchise. The landscape industry is a $93 billion industry and it's growing at 5% a year. So this is a big franchise opportunity. With Grassroots' unique monthly installment billing, you'll have a steady flow of cash every month.
Hi, this is Josh Wise, founder of Grassroots. Visit mygrassrootsfranchise.com so I can help you make the income you deserve.
Josh will teach you everything you need to know to be a success. Visit mygrassrootsfranchise.com.
Game day is coming up, and for Jameson, the best seat in the house is at your neighborhood bar. So grab
30 seconds.
stool and enjoy a smooth Jameson ginger and lime. So we're giving you a chance to win the ultimate game day viewing party, where you and your friends will watch the big game and be treated like VIPs at Smith's Old Bar. Every week, somebody wins. Enter to win by visiting JamesonViewingParty.com. That's JamesonViewingParty.com.
Taste responsibly. Jameson Irish Whiskey. Product of Ireland. 40% alcohol by volume. 80 proof. Copyright 2019. Imported by John Jameson. Import Company, New York, New York.
680 The Fan's College Football Saturday. Powered by Georgia's Own Credit Union. Become one of Georgia's Own now at georgiasown.org. The Fans College Game Day, live from Sports and Social. We've got college scores and stats all afternoon on the college football voice of the South. The Fan, 680 and 93.7 FM.
Welcome back in to College Game Day, live from Sports and Social in the Battery, Atlanta. Home team Brandon Leak, Brian Hoyt, John Michaels, live from Sports and Social.
I'm back.
You can hear me on our sister station, the Sports X, Monday through Friday with the College Football Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion, Davey O'Brien Award winner, All-American, and all-time leading passer Georgia Tech, Joe Hamilton, 9 to noon.
Heisman runner-up.
On 106.3, 103.7 FM on the Sports X.
Can I do a Hamilton hot route sometime?
We might have guests in for our bet nights at the end of the week.
Oh.
We have a last segment on Fridays, things that bet not happen.
Bet not.
So
you,
like
you know what bet not happened?
What was that?
Miami bet not lose to Virginia Tech, or I'm driving down there and kicking the crap out of somebody.
That's exactly how we do our bet night. So mine yesterday was the Brave season bet not be over Sunday. Bet not.
I don't like to pat myself on the back, but I'll do it anyway because I did it on social media.
Might as well.
I put out yesterday, and this is just, I'm trying to be positive Braves fan because the team's really good, and I do think they're going to be in the World Series. I said yesterday, we need at least 6 innings out of Mike Fultonevich, and we need to get at least 3 runs off Jack Flaherty to win the game. And they got 3 runs off Flaherty and got a great
Take credit for that, brother.
No. I did. Trust me, I quote retweeted myself like an idiot.
You know what the best retweet quote that you had, though, was? The Snit Duval one. Did you see this home team?
No.
Tell that story because.
So, Snitker decides to pull Fultonevich. We've got 1 or 2 outs,
and
one
folks
on.
Started booing.
Oh, I was because Fulty's rolling.
He's dealing.
I'm like, man, we really need a complete game out of Fultonevich. I don't want to go to the bullpen. So I tweet this. Let me find the original tweet.
And it may have turned out to be right.
No.
It was the opposite of
It
that.
was
No, I'm talking about Snit turned out to be right.
yeah. Snit
He
made the
pitches
right
for the
choice.
man. The man hits a 2-run shot, and we get the win.
So right before Duvall comes to bat, for the record, I would not pull Fulte here.
Yeah, that is accurate. 6:37 p.m.
Didn't go too well. I quote retweeted myself at 6:42. Like I said, 100% I would have pitched it with Duvall.
That's good work.
Because let's be real, in this business, we're wrong more than we're right.
So here's where I credit you. You didn't delete it. There are so many people that would have gone
Stand on
back
what you said.
and deleted that stupid tweet.
Stand on what you said.
I'm so glad you didn't.
Well, truthfully, if I was the manager, I would not have pulled Mike Fultonevich right there.
We live in a world that the outcome and the result bases on if it's a good decision or a bad decision. Sometimes you may make the right decision. It doesn't work out.
Sure. Exactly.
It still may have been the right decision to keep Fulte in the way he was pitching, but it worked out either way.
Got the 2-run bomb and had to still deal with 2 Cardinals on base in the 9th inning with the tying run at the plate. So Snit was right yesterday, and thank goodness Fulte gave us and gave the Cardinals the business all day yesterday. It was a fantastic pitching performance.
Kudos to him, by the way. And we know Los has coined the phrase, he's a mental midget. Sometimes he just does not have it upstairs. It's just not working. And that's maybe his biggest, where he's been hamstrung the most this season. He has the best stuff, and I'm talking it's better than Soroka. When he is on, he has the best stuff on this staff. So to see what he did last night, I was so happy for him personally. After everything he's gone through, this may be the Braves' biggest move, by the way. The fact that you can turn this guy back into an all-star like he was last year, it's going to pay dividends if they get to the next round.
And how
against
about
the
new
Dodgers.
secret weapon, Max Fried? What do we do now? You going to start him? Is he going to be setup man? Is he going to be closer? What in the world do we do with Max Fried? Something that we did not have all season long, having an arm that has electricity and juice in it coming out of the bullpen, and he's not messing around.
The nice thing about this is now that he is officially, in our minds, he's now officially in that bullpen, now you can use him as a guy in the bullpen. You don't have to worry about, God, I got to get him out here. I got to get him out after 1 inning because I'm going to pitch him in Game 4. No, he's now officially bullpen for the rest of this series. You use him however you want to, and there are team after team after team. The list goes on and on of guys that were that 4th starter that go into that bullpen and light it up. I remember Lincecum going to the bullpen for the Giants, and he was just a dominating factor out of that bullpen. He couldn't crack the rotation in 12, but, man, you get a guy like that coming out of the pen, and the juices are flowing, and it's an intense situation. Now he's got a little extra movement, a little extra speed in that fastball. It's nuts how it changes the game.
I also think in Game 4 you can go with the scenario that has been done by the Oakland A's, the Tampa Bay Rays, the New York Yankees. You might use Julio Teheran as the opener.
Fine.
Hey, you give me 3 innings, now I can go get Max Fried for 3 or 4 innings.
Vice versa, it's the playoffs, man. So if I see after an inning and a third you don't have it, I go
Go
quick
sit
hook.
down.
You're gone.
Yeah, go sit down. Don't want to get into too much of y'all's business or anybody's business, but I like to save
No,
lives.
that's what we do.
Do you sleep with your bedroom door open or closed?
I have 3 kids at home. My bedroom door is closed at all times because we always get it never fails. Kane knocks on the door first because he goes to bed first.
That's your son.
I want
Daddy.
good night, y'all. All right. So it's me and wife because I sleep in underwear and a tank top, and she sleeps in a bra and panties because that's what they do.
I'm envisioning you just in orange and green Miami jammies.
I'm
like
scared
head
to ask
toe,
what you wear to bed.
Well, I told you what I'm wearing to bed.
zipping all the way up.
Yeah.
Then our daughter, who's 14, who's now getting to that point, she's in high school, she'll knock on the door. Well, I have to cover myself again. And it's like, so yes, the door is always closed because at 11:30 when we have like 9 minutes of quiet time to ourselves, I don't need one of them just barging in.
What about you at the Hoyt household?
Vice versa, we got the young kids. One can barely even walk, and the other one just still crawling around. And so Lisa keeps the door as open as it can be so she can hear the kids. If they're screaming from the other room, she can go out in the middle of the night and go handle them. I sleep through that. I'm not.
Everybody should have their doors closed,
Okay,
according
why is
to
this?
the Firefighting Safety Research Institute, because of the chemicals that are in our furniture, that happen to be in the furniture. It causes fires to expand more quickly. So closing the door to your room can delay some of the time a fire could get out of control. So your door should be closed, your children's doors should be closed, and all doors should be closed in a home when you go to bed at night. they said that the times have changed, that the old furniture used to burn a little bit more slowly. The average time it took for a fire to get out of control was 17 minutes. Now it's down to 3.
Well, because we got that cheap IKEA furniture. It goes up in flames like
or all the chemicals on my quote-unquote leather furniture.
I don't know if we'll be sending sales staff to IKEA now that you
there goes
talked
that
about their
endorsement.
product.
Point here for IKEA. You want your furniture to
There you
go
go.
up in
Clean it
flames?
up. Don't delete that tweet. Just clean it up a little bit. Yes, it's
Or
supposed to
quote retweet it like I did.
Apparently, and it always scares me. Did y'all see the movie Backdraft?
Yes.
I guess that's kind of to the theory that the chemicals involved and the science of oxygen and fire. It's better to keep your door closed and to keep it open to make sure everybody has a better chance of getting out of a window and getting out safely. In case
If I got to get out of the window, I'm in deep trouble because we're on the second floor and I got to jump onto a deck and I weigh way too much to come landing on a deck, jumping out of a fire.
Now, here's my question. If the door is open, I can leave out the door, right?
You could, but what if the fire is downstairs? So you don't want to be burnt all to
No,
Hades.
We're just screwed then. All the bedrooms.
Yeah,
on the
you wanna
second
be able to
floor.
get That's how kids. Ours
are,
yeah,
too.
we're gonna start praying. That's all we'll do. We'll all just huddle up and pray, and that's about it. Because I remember, like in
I'm going to put
elementary.
on my turnover chain and hope it has magical powers to hold off the fire.
Because I remember in elementary school, they told you like if the door was shut, you were supposed to touch the handle real
Yeah,
gently,
right.
Because it would be if it was hot, you weren't supposed to open the door. So at least if it's open, I could get out, I guess.
I'm thinking if there's a fire, then everybody just has to get out. And you guys with kids, y'all have to go last. You're going to have to take kids and wives and hold
They're
them out
old
the
enough to
windows.
run. Y'all better run. It's hot.
Yeah. So home team, you got the dogs and Tracy, right?
Well, the dogs have gone on to glory. We'll see them
no.
when next we
Oh.
meet. So, yeah, both
Oh.
Max and Murphy, they've gone on to a better
Max and Murph, those are awesome.
Did they go
names.
together? Was there an accident?
No, they're about 8 months apart.
They were driving around and just
No,
drinking too
it was
much?
old.
Okay.
It was old. One was 16, and one was 12 and had a couple of strokes.
But oh dear.
See, there you go. that's why you shouldn't laugh at people's dogs. You don't know what's going on.
How do I transition from that? So is Tracy on her own, or are you responsible for Tracy?
Well, she's on me.
She's a grown woman.
And she can get out. She can get out. She's,
So home team's just hauling ass and getting out of the house.
No. Well, I don't want to get in the way of firefighters.
Oh.
The professionals. So what I'm going to do is I would think we have a townhome. So we don't have that much. We both can just jump out.
Do you just kick in the next door neighbor's
can catch
door
it.
and go through there?
Yeah. Well, we have the firewall
Okay.
in between. So we'd probably be better to jump out. I just try to catch
Tracy is a Florida State fan, so they're known for running from hot situations,
Yeah, she probably could keep. Y'all were talking trash on the
Oh,
way
yeah.
in.
I was going to leave that hanging. I already made
I'm
dog
staying out of
stroke
that.
humor at this point. I'm done with this.
Yeah, my dog, he's gone. I miss him. I loved him very much.
Sorry.
He's gone
See, the
on.
good thing is I've known Tracy because we all worked together a decade and a half ago.
Boy,
so
time flies.
Yeah, time flies. Again, I was skinnier and a lot less gray.
John, you got any dead animals I can make fun of?
Our dog actually died 2 days before Christmas last year.
I'm sorry to hear that, man.
The worst part, I was working a Falcons game, and when the wife the wife knows when you're at work. And in this business, I can look at my phone and go, all right, the wife's calling.
But I can't do
But
anything.
I can't really answer because I've got a headset on and I'm talking to people that are listening to us live. And she probably called me 20 times. I go, this isn't good. So we went to commercial. I said, hey, I have to handle something. I'm not going to be back this next segment. And I called her. Mind you, I'm in an NFL stadium. She's hysterically crying.
Let's go to John
You know
on the
what? We'll get to
sideline.
the end of the show for the dog owners. Is it better to take them to be put to sleep or better for them to go into glory at home? Because I had both. We took one to have him put to sleep, and then once the other, when I was on my way to work, he just had, transitioned.
He just went to the upper room.
Yeah, he transitioned to the upper doggy room.
Yes.
This is a real
The
uplifting
upper
story.
room.
Yeah, we'll
We
change.
went from saving lives to talking about dead
We'll
dogs. It was awesome.
transition to something happier, like Kirby Smart and one of his units. Kirby Smart has a unit that is more than just consistent, and we'll get to that next. John Michaels,
You ever done dead dog talk?
home team.
And now we're talking about Kirby's unit.
I was trying to save
don't
lives.
don't segue into dead dog into Kirby's unit.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm really excited.
Brian Hoyt, this is College Game Day live from Sports and Social on the Fan, 680, 93.7 FM.
This is College Football Saturday on 680 The Fan, powered by Georgia's own credit union.
Hey, some guy called and said that the fire theory is absolute bullshit.
Hi, this is Candace from Exovations, and have I got a tip for you? We do that. We've transformed hundreds of traditional brick and stucco exteriors into stunning dream homes. We create dimension and add character with paint, stone accents, portico additions, decorative accessories, and an updated color palette. I know what you're thinking. Painted brick? But have you seen it? It's amazing! And with Exovations, you'll get your project delivered on time, on budget, and without all that stress you usually hear about in construction. Let Exovations help get the ick out of brick and the yucko out of stucco. Schedule your free quote today at exovations.com. That's EXOVATIONS.com.
Express Oil Change and Tire Engineers are celebrating this Braves run into the playoffs all postseason long. When the Braves score 5 or more runs, you score a discount. You'll get $1 off a full-service oil change for every run they score, but that's only good the day after the game. Visit expressoil.com.
The 22nd annual Motul Petit Le Mans comes to Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta, October 9th through the 12th for the 4-day festival of speed that's become a fall tradition of road racing in the South. Experience Corvette, Lamborghini, Ferrari, Porsche, Audi, Lexus, Acura, AMG, BMW, and more as they fight for the championship over the course of 10 grueling hours at the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship and Michelin Endurance Cup season finales. Fans can also experience the autograph sessions with all the international superstars of the sports car racing world, an open paddock, fan grid walk on race morning, night practice, manufacturer corrals, camping, beer garden, sports bars, shopping, food trucks, and more. In addition to the 10-hour main event on Saturday, October 12th, 3 additional racing series will compete for their respective championships throughout the week. Gates open Wednesday, October 9th. Tickets start at just $50 and are on sale now at roadatlanta.com. Kids under 12 get in free. The 22nd annual Motul Petit Le Mans at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta.
Are you looking for a school that trains you for a career in broadcast media? What if I told you there is one here in Atlanta? No, it's not a college. It doesn't have lecture halls and books, nor does it teach you subjects you don't need. Just studios, and you're in them from day one with pros in the industry. You learn by doing. What if I told you this school will train you not only in broadcast media, but audio and video production, radio, television, and sports broadcasting? What if I told you that after graduation from this school, you wouldn't have the heavy student loan debt like some of your college friends? This school is family-owned with a 55-year history of success, and they teach you skills. Skills that get you jobs. Thousands have been placed. Traditional universities aren't for everyone. Maybe you've already been down that road and hit a dead end. It's never too late. Connecticut School of Broadcasting. You've heard our name before, but do you really know what we do? Come check us out at our Atlanta campus and see if we're the right fit for you. Check us out at GoCSB.com. That's GoCSB.com.
Are you in the market for an auto loan, a boat loan, or even a personal loan? Hey, it's Chuck Dowdle. Save money with my friends at Georgia's Own Credit Union. Because Georgia's Own is local and not-for-profit, they're known for having better rates and fewer fees. Now, through the end of November, you can save even more when you take advantage of their multi-loan discount. Get up to 1% off your next loan when you finance it with Georgia's Own. To learn more, visit georgiasown.org. I'm Chuck Dowdle, and I'm one of Georgia's Own.
Restrictions apply. Offer valid through November 31st. Visit georgiasown.org for complete details.
From Athens to the Bends, when the teams you love take the field, count on Atlanta's tailgate station to be there with the big
All right, here we go. Stand by.
parties in the South. This is WCNN North Atlanta, a Dickey broadcasting station. Lock up your free ticket to the next tailgate at 680thefan.com. College updates all afternoon. The Fan's College Game Day. Live from Sports and Social at the Battery Atlanta. On the biggest college football station in the country. The Fan. 680 and 93.7 FM.
Ooh, we got kickoffs.
Welcome back in to College Game Day. It is kickoff time.
It's
live
official.
from Sports and Social here in the Battery, Atlanta. Home team Brandon Leak, Brian Hoyt, John Michaels live from Sports and Social. Week 6 is upon us. Georgia Bulldogs up the road in Knoxville taking on the Tennessee Volunteers. Georgia Tech at home entertaining the Tar Heels of North Carolina. We will get into those games coming up here in the 12 o'clock hour. Snoop Dogg invited to help the festivities at Kansas as he was supposed to put on a concert and entertain, and he did. However, he said and did some things some people didn't like.
You want an uptick in recruiting? Bring Snoop Dogg to your campus to do exactly what he did last night.
We'll get to that. Is this team for real or are they fake in the SEC? We'll get to that. And you might not do it, but a whole lot of people will do it as guys in college football look like they're about to get paid. We're going to get to that here in the 12 o'clock
Does
hour.
that mean I finally get NCAA football back?
Look.
Like, that's all I care.
That would be awesome.
I'm a really selfish person. I have a PlayStation 4 in my basement. I have a bunch of games. I don't play any of them like I played college football.
John,
Your life is no different than anybody else's life. We're all selfish. Everybody does what they want to do. They root for the team they want to root for. They go to the church they want to go to. They vote for the politician they want to vote for. And you can have college football if you want to.
I have never said damn. Like, Ed O'Bannon's actually a really nice guy. I've met Ed O'Bannon.
I met him too.
Nope, I don't care.
But he's a
I
jerk.
don't care.
Oh, you're on the other side. Oh, we're going to have a great
I
conversation.
don't
No,
care.
because he was selfish.
There's a reason there's still a PS2 in my house, and it's so I can play
PS2?
PS2. It's so I can play NCAA 2008 over and over and over again. It's the only reason I keep that thing in my house.
That's
Might as well have an Atari.
One of the things that my wife and I kind of got in an argument about. I had a PS3 because I had NCAA 14, and there were people online that every year would update the roster, so you basically were getting a new game every year.
They would have the from scenarios or
That's
the
right.
attributes basically for number 11. But
she made me get rid of the PS3.
Oh, my goodness.
So it was we tried to
Mrs.
do
Michaels,
nice.
no.
We gave the PS3 to some kids that didn't have a game system.
All right.
But for me, I lost my college football.
Well, we'll get into that about 12:20 this afternoon. Dogs facing Tennessee, 7 o'clock. Kirby Smart has figured something out, and he keeps repeating it. You threw out some numbers when we were chit-chatting yesterday via text, Brian Hoyt. I like these numbers. His defense not only is limiting points, but he's also putting a limit on the drives and the plays that teams are running against the dog defense, which over time is going to lead to his benefit.
The idea is we're all facing RPOs. How do we stop the RPO? And talking to Chris Landry this week, and we were asking him, like, the RPO and I was talking to him off the air, how do you defend it? And his words were, first off, Hoyt, it's cheating. It's basically cheating. The offensive lineman he's blocking downfield on a run play, basically, or vice versa. He's blocking downfield on a pass play, and so the linebacker has no idea. So how do you beat an RPO? There's roughly 3 ways to beat it. You can be like Clemson last year, and you can have just an elite defensive line, and you can drop everybody else back in coverage. Most of us don't have guys that are going to send 3 guys to the NFL on the D-line. So let's cancel that one out. You can outscore them, which we saw Georgia do against Oklahoma in the Rose Bowl. It's a very rare occurrence. And by the way, you're now playing their game that they want to play. So you can outscore them, or you can limit their possession. So I'm going back watching the Notre Dame game, and I'm thinking to myself, why do we keep running this? And I know John's feeling on James Coley. We don't need to get into that. And a lot of people's feeling on Coley. And we all thought it would be something different than Chaney. And unfortunately, it wasn't. You ran the ball, and you kept running the ball. And why won't you release Fromm and let him throw it around? Maybe Kirby's an evil genius. And I bring that up because do you know where Georgia ranks this year in offensive plays per game?
How many they run or how many they're allowing the opponents to run?
How many they run?
Oh, probably
plays per game.
Probably in the 80s.
Georgia is running 62 plays a game. It's 125th in college football.
Wow. Yeah, because teams are wanting to run 80 or 90 plays a game.
Exactly. When you look at teams like Alabama is kind of the outlier. They're running 70. Clemson in a 3-year span has run 75. Ohio State 77. LSU under the new OC is running 78. If I can limit your possessions and your plays that you're running, now you're playing my game. If I limit you 2 drives less, okay, first one to 28 or 30 wins this game. I'm not getting into a 40-point game. And so when I think in the future, and if Georgia wants to get where they're going in the future, it's going to go through Ohio State. It's going to go through Clemson or Alabama or Oklahoma or whoever, even LSU in that point. You're going to have to limit possessions. You've got a guy in Jake Fromm that can maybe take you down the field in a hurry-up style offense if we end up in that game. Like I said, in the Rose Bowl, you ended up in that game, and Jake Fromm was able to do that. But for the most part, Kirby wants to limit your possessions. If I can just give you 2 examples. Notre Dame had 14 offensive drives against Louisville the first game of the year. Against Georgia, they had 10.
Wow.
And that includes a turnover that Tyler Simmons gave them where they got the ball right back.
Right there at the goal line, too.
Vice versa, Vanderbilt had 10 offensive possessions against Georgia in that first game of the year. Against LSU, they had 15. If I can limit you 5 times, let's say you score on only 2 of them, that's 14 or 10 or 6 points that I've taken off the board. So as much as we want to criticize Kirby and why do you just keep running the ball, why do you do this? It's all about that, and it's all about time of possession. Georgia is 5th right now in time of possession in the country, and I think that's going to be a huge key when Georgia finally gets into these big games against big offenses like LSU or Clemson or Ohio State or et cetera.
To use the correlation to the Falcons, think about the game against the Colts. You got 6 offensive possessions against the Colts. You want to know why the offense couldn't score more than 24 points? You didn't have the ball enough. And my beef with James Coley isn't the way that he runs plays. It actually is the way he runs. I don't mind him running the football. I mind James Coley because he never seems to have a rhyme or reason what he's doing.
No, he doesn't set up anything. It's not like Shanahan where he sees something, he's going to come back to this 2 quarters later.
I saw James Coley as an OC for 2 years, 3 years at Miami, coming off Jed Fish, who was a really good offensive coordinator and went to the NFL. Coley's first 15 plays are usually great because he lays those 15 out and he goes, this is what we're going to run.
And then what?
The problem is after that, it seems like he's almost doing like the play generator on his phone, just going, all right, we're going to run this.
Can I defend my man Coley for a minute?
He's got cool sunglasses.
Can I defend my man Coley just for 1 second?
Get him, Tez.
30-6, 63-17, 55-0, 23-17. The man plays from ahead. He's running the ball. He's getting first downs. He's moving the chains. He's keeping the defense rested. Can I just throw those things out for the record to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
You can do that, but the only game that he played against a defense that was equal or close to where you were was Notre Dame.
Okay, that's fine.
So putting up 50 points against Arkansas State, that all looks fine and dandy. My thing is I've seen the track record. Now, he's got better weapons at Georgia than he ever had at Miami, and it's not even close. He's got a quarterback in Jake Fromm that's better than anything he had at Florida State or Miami or any of his other stops, and it's not even close. Sometimes, and I love all the research you did there, and that's tremendous research, and it's part of why Georgia is different than the other teams that are in the top 7, and it's why they're going to give some of those teams a hard game. There has to be a time, though, if you're James Coley, that you do take the handcuff off of Jake Fromm and you go, all right, I'm going to use this series to go attack a team.
But you don't get questioned as a coach when you do that. Does that make sense? Like,
no, you're right.
Like, ultimately, if you're going to limit possessions, which, again, Kirby is a defensive guy. So Kirby wants to rest his defense and keep the offense on the field. If you're going to limit possessions, when you play games like this, they're all going to be nail-biters. And to me, if you're playing a 3-point game, a one-possession kind of game, you better have a guy that tactfully can call an offensive game plan and call things at the right time, because everything is going to come down to when you turn over the ball, how long you last drives, if you can pick up big third down, crucial third downs. That's where my problem is with Coley, but I understand what Kirby is doing. It's not the sexy thing, not in the era we live in by any means, because everybody's putting up 70 points and throwing for 400 and
Which
running
is why
for
I
200.
love it. You don't have to do what everybody else is doing it, especially when your program is built to do a certain thing and you are doing it. It would be one thing if Kirby was trying to build a monster offensive line and they were just stifling in the running game, or he was trying to recruit all these 5 stars on the defensive side of the ball. You couldn't stop anybody. What he's doing is working. He is winning double-digit games, going to SEC championship games, and going to college football playoff championship games.
And John took it to the Falcons, and I'm not – look, there was a game in February that you guys played in and everything else, and we don't have to go into what happened there. But
no, it's a part of what we are. Yeah. I'm not going to run from it.
You embrace it. I'm home team, and I survived
I'm not
the
going to
Atlanta
run from
collapse.
it. It's a part of who we are now.
How many plays was that defense on the field in the second half?
Too damn.
Too
The
many.
Patriots ran 90-some-odd plays. The Falcons ran 40-something
I think
plays.
it was 40-20 with the time of possession. It was absolutely ridiculous.
And you're gassed. And so when you're keeping your offense on these long drives and you're limiting possessions, you're saving that defense. You're not having to give guys blows over and over again and get defense off the field and guys are bending over and faking injuries and everything else. So if you want to beat an RPO team, again, you can control the clock, which is what Kirby's doing. You can outscore them, which maybe you can. Or you can have that Clemson defensive line, which Georgia does not have right now.
Well, and what's funny when you talk about outscoring, LSU tried the control the clock thing, but they didn't have the talent or the athlete. They had the let me back up. They had the talent and the athletes. They didn't have the scheme that Georgia's running in the last couple of years. They realize now the only way they're going to beat Alabama, it's not going to be bludgeoning them. It's going to be standing up and throwing it and trying to outscore them. Georgia has played toe-to-toe with Alabama. They've knocked off Oklahoma with a Heisman Trophy winner. They've done all of those things, so they've already proven the track record is there that their style of football works. They do it better than anybody else. And to me, this is what makes college football so great. The NFL, everybody kind of does the same thing.
Yep, exactly.
In college football, you can run the triple option like Army. You can pound it like Georgia or Michigan would like to do, or you could be 5 wide like Oklahoma. That's what makes this game so great.
And
to
the
me.
funny thing is, that's where I give Coach O credit, because Coach O wants to line up and just beat you man on man. He wants to be physical, but he tipped his hat and said, we can't beat Bama that way.
Right.
Let's try something else. And we're not going to know if that actually works out till the first week of November, but you know what? They're at least trying something else.
Georgia Tech.
Very, very impressive.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Coach. I like his. Boy, if I had a son, it'd be all right if Coach Ogeron came to the living room and made his pitch.
But would you really be able to understand what he's saying?
I will
would
say this to you.
I would know it was positive, and the spirit and the direction would be in the right place.
You know how much brown liquor you would go through with that man, by the way, on that visit? Like, I would open the good stuff, and I'd put it on the table, and it would just be the three of us just enjoying a few drinks, just telling some stories.
Is it a violation? Because I would tell him, what do you have? You bring me some.
You make more
money
than I do.
You open up something. Georgia Tech in action this afternoon. You're on the Fan 680 93.7 FM. They're taking on North Carolina. John, you said something. It hurt as somebody who's grown up watching Georgia Tech athletics, but there could be some truth in it. And sometimes the truth hurts, and that's why it hurt. You said you're not sure if they could win another game. And when you start to look at not only Georgia Tech but also the ACC, when you look at Duke coming up and Miami coming up on the road and taking on Pitt and going to Virginia.
Oh, no.
It's just the schedule is not helpful at all. Do you have to brace is the question I would ask for not winning any more games this season if you are in Jacket Nation.
Yes.
We are so blessed.
We are, Coach. And
We are.
We're blessed to have Coach Collins.
Shout out
here.
here.
And
Decatur, Georgia. Shout out to a man from Decatur,
I
Georgia.
do think Coach Collins in a couple of years will have Georgia Tech on some really good footing.
Agreed, 100%.
It's not going to be this year. And, I got in an argument with fans before the year because I'll always put up, rankings and what I think. And Georgia Tech fans were like, this is a 7-win team. And I'm like, you guys don't realize Paul Johnson, first of all, did a masterful job. As much as we love to crap on Paul Johnson's offense, to have the talent level that he had and to go out and win the games that he did and be competitive. But you're now taking that talent level that was brought in here to cut block and run triple option football, control possessions like you talked about, keep a less than athletic defense off the field, and now you're changing all of that in 1 year. If they go 1-11, is it disappointing? Yes. You shouldn't have lost to the Citadel, and maybe you should have been more competitive with Temple. But when you look at that, what else did we really realistically think Georgia Tech was going to do?
I'm not going to lie. My Georgia Tech math was, all right, Clemson was Clemson. You knew what that was.
Yep.
You beat UCF and you beat the Citadel. You're 2-1. The swing game was Temple. If you win, you're 3-1. If you lose, you're 2-2 after a month of football. That was my math to start the season. So if you're 2-2 with my math, okay, the rest of the season is the rest of the season. Now the situation is you're 1-3. North Carolina has stepped up, and they are coming in. If you go to 1-4, going to Duke.
Duke's playing some damn good
football. Who is playing very well. Now all of a sudden, my math does not equal a really good season.
This may suck for the Tech fan to hear, though, but is there a difference between 3-9 and 1-11?
No,
Is there
not
ultimately?
really. Not really, no.
Does it change what Coach Collins is trying to do?
I think no. You're right. Overall, no. 3-9, 1-11, no.
Like, if you wanted to win 6 or 7 games, then keep Paul Johnson here, and you would have stayed on the exact same track
right.
that you were on.
It's more about what's 6 years down the road from now,
Correct.
4 years down the road from now. It's about removing Paul Johnson and what is the upgrade after that.
A loss to Citadel doesn't change at all what Jeff Collins is trying to do, and it's not going to change it 4 years from now. He's going to have this program where it is, not because they won or lost against Citadel or won or lost against Temple. It's all about moving forward. Does it something take it in the shorts now? Certainly it does. But you know what? You brought him in here for a reason. Again, if you wanted
recruiting.
if you wanted
to recruit.
That's right. If you wanted to be a 7-win team and go to a bowl game, then you should have kept Paul Johnson. Ultimately, I look at Jeff Collins Perkins, and they're recruiting, as he just said in the clip. I see them listed as, I'll see Alabama, I'll see Georgia, I'll see Tennessee, I'll see Florida, and then I'll see the Georgia Tech logo.
That's right.
And a recruit puts out my top 5.
Right.
you may not even get that player. You were never in living rooms. You were never in the top five. And eventually you're going to get those guys. I remember for the longest time with Coach Rick, we would see Georgia, that G logo in the top 5. We wouldn't get them, but it was cool to be in the room with them and everything else. Well, Georgia Tech, you're now in a room with these recruits that you have never been in before, and eventually it's going to start paying off. You saw it already. They've already got their first 5-star on campus. He can't play this year, but they got their first 5-star on campus now.
All right, when we get back.
Actively recruit them.
You are.
You are, Coach, and I believe. I'm with you. When we get back, you might do it, but a whole lot of people will. For guys you want on your college football team, we're going to get into the pay for play. Yes.
Oh, God.
Coming up next,
We're about
College
to
Game
fight.
Day, live from Sports and Social.
fight.
Home team, Brian Hoyt, John Michaels, here on The Fan, 680, 93.7 FM.
Tomorrow night, it's going to be a huge Game 3 as the Braves and Cardinals take the division series out to St. Louis, and the fan is loaded with 680 Game Day. The Ford.
Hoyt, you there?
Every pitch of Game 3 from Busch Stadium.
1-1 to Is Hoyt there?
He sends one
I'm here.
deep left.
I love her.
Some guy named Clyde called in. He said, you tell that Hoyt that to play Clemson and Ohio State, you got to get to the playoffs. And this team ain't getting to the playoffs.
Oh.
They're going to lose to Auburn and Alabama.
Did he say Auburn?
93.7
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well,
yes,
we should have you come on and give us the play-by-play.
I'd love for Clyde to just stay on the line
He'll reenact it.
and
Your home
jump
with this
in.
new technology from Termador.
I will
Hydraulic
tell you this.
injections.
We've always believed in protecting our clients with the best product on the market. That's Termador. But Termador has changed the termite game with hydraulic injections. We use the same amount of active ingredient we would doing it the old school.
He said Kirby's just a recruiter.
Machine actually pushes
Wow.
All he is.
into the soil at 4,000 psi, so we get a continuous barrier all the way around your home without pumping
All right,
hundreds of
Rhino.
gallons. It's
So we'll
better
do the
protection
Gene
for
Smith
the homeowner. It's safer for the environment.
Cuts here.
Okay.
It sounds like the hydraulic system takes the human error factor completely out of the equation.
With a digital onboard computer, you get to see the exact amount
You're going to go in order 2, 4, 5?
of technology that makes the job easier for the technician. It's the biggest game changer the termite industry has seen in our lifetime.
When it comes to protecting my home from termites, I want the best. That's why I'm protected by the best, and that's Breda. Make the switch now to Breda Pest Management. Online at BredaPest.com.
ESOG is excited to be a part of this year's JDRF One Walk event, Saturday, October 19th at Centennial Olympic Park. Check-in is at 7:30 a.m. and the walk starts at 9 a.m. The JDRF One Walk is one of the largest local gatherings of type 1 diabetes, with 10,000 people coming together to raise awareness. ESOG is proud to be sponsoring the Family Village this year. Come out Saturday, October 19th at Centennial Olympic Park at 7:30 a.m. and join the fun. See you there.
Matt Stinchcomb here again for ASW Distillery. You know what a lot of folks associate with college football season? Bourbon. Especially bourbon from Georgia's hometown whiskey distillery, ASW. I've known ASW Distillery founders Charlie and Jim since our days at UGA, and I routinely give their Fiddler bourbon as gifts on my travels throughout the season. Head over to either of ASW's Atlanta locations in Buckhead or in the West End for a tour and tasting of their whiskey and cocktails, or pick up Fiddler for tailgates at your local bottle shop. ASW Distillery. Delicious whiskey distilled by dogs.
Call Superior Plumbing, day or night. Integrity and value gets the job done right. For over 25 years we've been on the scene. Professional service, a reliable team. Superior, the honest one. Call 770-422-PLUM. Superior, the honest one. Call 770-422-PLUM. For all your plumbing needs, you can count on us. For value and service, we're the ones to trust. We're there when you need us. Pick up the phone with Superior Plumbing. You're never alone. Superior, the honest one. Call 770-422-PLUM. Superior, the honest one. Call 770-422-PLUM.
When you're feeling famished and not sure where to eat, come to Atlantic Station with over 15 restaurants all conveniently located in one place. Atlantic Station has it all when it comes to brunch, lunch, dinner, and more. Whether you're looking for a supreme salad at Salada, a burger like no other at Atlantic Grill, or chicken done right, Atlantic Station is well equipped to satisfy your every craving. And don't forget to grab your friends and try Gyu Kaku, our newest eatery with the best Korean barbecue in town. For additional details and to see a list of our restaurants, visit atlanticstation.com/dine.
You know, too many of us enter retirement without a solid game plan. It's like throwing out the first pitch before you even know your batting lineup. Don't be a bad manager of your finances. Instead, listen to the Financial Symphony with Mark Lloyd to learn how to construct a harmonious financial plan.
You got to learn. You got to take the time to understand, where do I invest? How do I invest? What changes do I need to make?
Listen to the Financial Symphony with Mark Lloyd, Sunday mornings at 8 on Sports Radio 680 The Fan.
680 The Fan, college football sports page.
Good afternoon, it's me, Rhino, with your Georgia United Credit Union scoreboard. Some local action today. Number 3 Georgia heads to Knoxville to take on the Vols. That game at 7 p.m. Georgia Tech welcomes ACC rival North Carolina to Bobby Dodd at 4. And the Georgia State Panthers are home this afternoon versus Arkansas State. That game at 3:30. Some early games underway. Joe Burrow, 4 for 6, 47 yards and a touchdown as LSU leads Utah State 7-0. Number 8, Wisconsin up 7-0 over Kent State. That game in the first. Also in the first, number 12, Penn State leading Purdue 7-0. Number 19, Michigan is driving. Right now they're up 3-0 over number 14, Iowa. And number 21, Oklahoma trails Texas Tech 3-0. That game's still early in the first. With the Georgia United Credit Union College Scoreboard, I'm Rhino, and you're listening to the most powerful voice in sports, The Fan, 680 and 93.7 FM.
680 The Fan's College Football Saturday, powered by Georgia's Own Credit Union. Become one of Georgia's Own now at georgiasown.org. The Fan's College Game Day.
All right, stand by. Here we go.
Sports and social, keeping you up to speed on all the afternoon college action on the college football voice of the South. The Fan, 680 and 93.7 FM.
I got drama, home team.
Drama already?
My son started crying on a baseball field.
And you're not there.
Well, he wasn't crying because of that. He didn't care if Dad's there. Apparently, one of the other kids stole the ball from him.
Oh, no, on his own team? Yeah. What was he doing, chasing butterflies? What was he doing?
I guess so, and the ball came rolling, and then he cried.
All right, we need more information. It's College Game Day, live from Sports and Social here in the Battery, Atlanta.
Adoption.
Home team Brandon Leak from the Sports X. You can hear me 9 to noon, Monday through Friday on 106.3, our sister station, live from Cobb County on the Home Team in Hamilton show with Joe Hamilton, all-time leading passer at Georgia Tech. Brian Hoyt, John Michaels here until 2 o'clock.
Always with the Joe Ham. He's got something to say. And then
I'm a fan of Joe Ham.
Michaels
It's a dream come true. I was a fan. I paid money to watch the man play. Now I get to work with him and then see the kind of person. Decency is something we don't have in this world a whole lot. A decent man. I get to work with a decent man Monday through Friday.
But you're like a wrestling announcer. And the undisputed heavyweight title of the world, he's thrown for over 4,000 yards in his career, run for over 2.
He gets tired of it, too.
And
if you did it, say it.
And the contender, John Michael.
I'm not even a contender. I'm a pretender at this point.
Coming up in about 8 minutes, who's the real deal and who's the phony in the SEC?
Ooh.
We're going to get to that. But first, it is upon us, gentlemen. You might not do it. You might have a neighbor that might not do it.
I don't want to do
You
this
might have a whole lot of people who might not do it. You might be on one side and be swayed. You may never be swayed from your side, but it's coming. College football players will be getting paid. This is the acronym. Should we call it NIL or NIL? For their name, images, and likeness. It's coming. States are hurrying up to change their laws after California passed theirs, I think for the good of football and for the good of the people. But now, not just California, way out there 3,000 miles away and how they do things out there.
Smoking their weed.
13 states now already are ready to run to the lawmakers and get some stuff pushed through. So on the books, the law of the land will read, if you are a student athlete at any college or university, you could get monies for your name, image, or likeness.
It always should have been that way. Always. A.J. Green getting suspended for multiple games for selling his own jersey.
Shameful.
The jersey he played in is shameful. Ohio State going on probation. I hate Ohio State. Ohio State going on probation because you had guys exchanging their gold pants that they had won against Michigan for tattoos. Part of it was Jim Tressel covered it all up, but that was a different part of the
There's
equation.
always a cover-up, not the crime.
There is, but the fact that you've had guys like that, Todd Gurley missing games for selling stuff like that, to me is idiotic and ridiculous. It's 1940s thinking.
Now let me say I'm with you, but let me be traffic cop.
Okay.
The rules are the rules, John Michael.
Thank you.
And if the rules say you can't do it, then you can't do it, which is why we are going to be right.
We've all seen the 30 for 30 with Marcus Dupree in Philadelphia, Mississippi that had one stoplight and one hotel. Every college recruiter with bags of cash, Trans Ams, and those were hot cars back in the 70s, lined up to pay this kid to go to his school. SMU had a documentary where the governor of the state of Texas was signing off on money going to their school. It's always happened. The people that never profited from it were typically the kids.
My problem is if you are a regular student, you can go be an intern somewhere. And some interns get paid. I know somebody very close to me who worked at a job where the interns, do you hear me? I want you to put your seatbelt on. The interns made $41,500 a year.
They make more than I do now?
$41,500 as an intern, and they were still in college, which was a prerequisite to get that internship. So what I'm telling you is,
what would you done with that money in college?
I remember getting paid with Dan
I'd
Tana's
be
gift
dead.
cards.
I got paid with Kroger gift cards.
I've had Kroger gift cards. Home team, don't act like you haven't been there either.
No, I've been there. I'm not better than anybody. You think I'm going to sit here and act like I'm better than somebody?
I remember getting a Dan Tana's gift card. Or
Yes. Nothing wrong with that.
Davio's
So
or whatever.
that is our side. John and I on one side. There is the other side. You are amateurs. You are given an opportunity to be a part of a culture and a history. You are getting a college education and being around people who have college educations and degrees, and being in that scenario better positions you and your future family than if you were not in that scenario. So that's the other side of the argument.
You're given a $100,000 scholarship, which
No.
I did not have.
You earned it.
$100,000 scholarship.
You earned it.
Okay, you've earned it. I didn't earn
As an
one.
exceptional high school athlete in high school.
And student.
And student. Thank you, John Michaels. I need to add that. You have earned a spot. What a scholarship is, in my opinion, is a spot. Doesn't guarantee you anything. Still got to do your work. Still got to do what's required. It guarantees you a spot. And that's what you've earned as a student athlete who gets a scholarship.
That's fair, but there are also guys that come in with a lower GPA than what the average is getting in with and paying their way in.
Let me stop you there. There are highs and lows.
Okay.
There's a minimum. And if the minimum on an SAT is 700 and you score 700, you qualify to be a student at that college or university, even if it's at the very minimum.
Okay, so let's go back to the earn part. You're earning a $100,000 scholarship.
Okay.
That, no offense, I wasn't gracious enough to be given that, whether it was an educational one or whether it was an athletic one. I did not have the opportunity. Whatever you do with it, if you want to go get a sports management degree, that's on you.
Amen.
If you want to go get a physics degree or you want to be a rocket scientist, go get that degree.
Amen.
That's all on you
Amen.
as a person. But you whether you're given it or you've earned that, you have the right to have that. Is that not payment enough?
No. To me, it's not.
Okay.
And
Those are separate.
I watched, and I don't know if you guys have seen the ESPN, I think it was called A Day with the Tide, where they were in Tuscaloosa, and they showed what these kids have to do above and beyond. I earned a scholarship not as an athlete, and I played sports. I earned a scholarship academically.
No, you didn't.
I did. I had
That
a
is
3.7. I had a 3.7 after my freshman year of college.
Oh.
At the end of my sophomore year of college, I had lost the academic scholarship. So I'm not kidding.
Life happens.
1 year of alcohol started happening, and
boy.
it changed everything. But point to that is I had to earn that. And when I lost that right, it was gone. The difference was when I was and I played sports. I played at an NAIA school, so they didn't care if we worked. I went and had a job where I could make money. Going back to the thing with the Day with the Tide, these kids are required. 5 a.m. you're at this. 6 a.m. you're at this. 8 to 12 you're in class. Then you have meetings. Then you have practice. Then you have something else. Then it's a study hall. Like from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. during football season, these kids are earning everything they have.
And you also have the nutrition and the free food and the free room and board and the tutors that I never had.
It's not free.
I never had.
It's
the
paid for by the scholarship.
It's provided for what I've earned in my scholarship.
Okay, but regardless, you are somewhat getting paid on that end. Here's my other problem with this whole idea. And look, it's going to happen. Whether I drag my feet or the NCAA drags their feet.
Are you going to kick and scream
it's
when
gonna
you drag
happen.
your feet?
You know what? I'm at the point now in my life where I would just admit it's going to happen, so why kick and scream?
But I ask you this, and this is not to play devil's advocate. It's, we're friends, we're cool. But I ask you, why would it bother you if an athlete makes money off his life? I'm not saying the school paying for him. And mind you, I am in favor of the school who's making billions of dollars off of these players, paying them a stipend. Not saying that. My thing is off their likeness, meaning I can sell my jersey. If my jersey sells,
I get that.
Why can't? What would be the problem with them making the money?
I am so worried about the Pandora's box it is going to open.
Okay, that's
and,
fair.
And from a recruiting
fair point.
standpoint, if let's just say we open this up and they'll allow you to have, and I'm throwing out a hypothetical, they'll allow you to have one job or you can do one endorsement. What keeps T. Boone Pickens, other than the grave, or Jerry Jones or someone like that from saying, all right, I'm going to give you $5 million in order to do this?
What's wrong with no different than what's happening today.
Ignorance is bliss. That's the difference.
We can all play like our school, whatever our favorite team may be, is not doing that. Every single school, I'm calling you out. I don't care who you are. Every single school has a booster who is handing over cash to these football players.
I'm going to do something
Every
I've never
single
done
one.
before. It's against who I am. I'm going to start snitching. I'm going to snitch right now. I'm going to tell you what I know, not what somebody told me.
How much did Joe Ham get paid? Go
no,
ahead.
this doesn't have anything to do with Joe Hamilton. Decent man.
And we're not going to tell on Joe.
SEC school.
Uh-oh.
In the 90s.
Bet it was Florida.
Booster.
Most likely.
Tells players $100 a catch. What does that mean? Mean anything. $100 a catch. Booster was going to give players in the SEC game $100 a catch. I know somebody ran a route that they weren't supposed to 3 times for $300.
Because he wanted that $100.
And he got his $300.
Of course he did.
I'm going to tell you what I know. ACC school. Basketball.
Probably Duke.
Team goes out on the road. They're gone. The students haven't broken any rules. They come back. When they come back, their sneakers in their rooms, their domiciles, $1,500. $2,000 and a new pair of sneakers. Did they do anything wrong? Who gave it to them? Do they report that? My point is, people who want to go above and beyond or break the rules are going to break the rules. So my issue is it's already going on. And to John's point, if DeAndre Swift or Jake Fromm on Tuesday nights wants to have a YouTube show sponsored by a car dealership in Athens and 600,000 people watching, why does that impact us? If he can still go to class, go to weight room sessions, go to film sessions, whoop up on Tennessee, what does that have to do with those guys on their own time using their own names and likenesses, putting a little money in their pocket? When I've told you there are people who intern
I was yelling and pointing.
for $41,000 a year.
I look at it, and to go to your point, I know somebody personally who got a brand new car to go to college. Like literally lower middle class family, never had a car. I went to high school with him, signed with the school, showed up the next day with a brand new green Lexus.
Dave Archer.
It was not Dave Archer. First of all, I'm not.
Shout out to the Cyclones.
I'm not quite that old. I love my man Arch.
Did they have chains on the tires? Yeah. Arch had cold up there in the wintertime.
Not quite that old yet. Arch is my guy. But I know that happened for a fact. The other thing with this is, I go back a couple of years. Was it the kicker for Central Florida?
Yeah,
or
he had the YouTube channel.
Who was making a ton of money before he got to college, and then when he got to college, earned his scholarship, by the way. They said, your choice is give up your YouTube channel where you've already started before you got here making money, or abide by our rules. The problem is the NCAA has rules that are literally set in the 1940s, and these state laws that are coming into effect don't really change the NCAA's rules. They just give them a little bit of outlier, and I laugh because California did it. You knew Florida was going to jump on this immediately. They were like, we sign these papers. We need Miami, Florida, and Florida State to get on board with this immediately.
It's grandstanding when it comes to a political standpoint because the NCAA ultimately is going to have to bend to this. But let me bring up another point. we all talk about Jake Fromm, DeAndre Swift, or you can say whoever. What about the other kids? Because we live in a PC world right now where equal pay, equal fare, everything's fair. It's all got to be split. So what about the offensive lineman that makes no money, that gets no endorsement? We don't feel bad for him?
I don't think it's about equal. I think on a lower level, let's just take sports that a lot of people don't go to the same level as basketball and football. Women's college basketball. If there is a woman who's on the board of a Fortune 500 company and there's a top talented women's basketball player and that person wants to support that person who doesn't get a lot of TV time or a lot of media time and wants to sponsor their YouTube channel, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with a gym dog, a former gym dog who is now a millionaire who wants to sponsor former or current gym dogs who don't get a lot of attention, who could use a little money in their pocket? And again, it doesn't affect us.
But
what's wrong with that?
We all talk about, though, this idea of we're trying to equal it up for the students and let them have it. Dude, I'm telling you, 1% to 2% of most college athletes are the only one that are going to benefit from this. So it's not like we're changing the whole scheme of college dynamics. It's 2% of the players are going to benefit from this, but you're changing everything for everybody.
Let's equate it to our own industry. We work in sports radio. We've all worked in media for a long time. Guess what? There are some people that get more endorsements than others. That's just a fact of America. It's called free enterprise.
John Kincaid.
If I'm Jake
Domino.
Fromm, how you doing? How's your family?
Chuck Oliver. Ballers.
But that's the point.
They deserve it.
They do the same way Jake Fromm or DeAndre Swift will deserve it more than offensive linemen.
Here's mine. Elijah Holyfield. I'm going to call this my Elijah Holyfield. 12 months ago, Elijah Holyfield was a darling in this state. Everybody was looking to see what he was going to do, what he's going to do for the Dogs. Everybody loved him. Now, all of a sudden, he runs a bad 40 at the Combine.
Right.
Did anybody think about Elijah Holyfield
not one
last 6 weeks? Did you really care about what he's been going through? No, and he's one what I call the rich kids. What if Elijah Holyfield could have had his dad show up for a pool party and said, you know what, I don't want to have one party. My dad's the heavyweight champion of the world.
And we're charging $20 a head.
$20 to get in. I make $300,000, but I could do this and won't have to do anything but focus on Georgia football for the rest of the year. I say, what would have been wrong with that, especially since his dream of being a starting running back in the NFL did not come true?
I don't like to agree with the NCAA. I side with them on this. My only fault with them at this point is you've had a long time to get this figured out, and you knew this day. You knew this day was coming.
10 years.
I don't know why you dragged your feet on this issue, and now you're trying to have to last minute come up with a reason or a way we're going to make this happen.
Let's get to a man who has great sense. He's got great passion. He's got great insight. Los Medina, part of this show.
Is he coming on?
He is coming on right now on the Fan 680 93.7 FM. My man, Carlos Medina. How you doing this fine Saturday afternoon?
This phone call is brought to you by Entry Point Doors and Windows.
I love it.
With Bedlam Vodka and Local Vine. So fascinating listening to you guys talk about this, and I want to just chime in with this one deal. So name, image, and likeness is like the last vestige of the NCAA trying to hold on to this minor little bit of power, because we all know where it's all going.
Don't change
and
my
ultimately,
game.
But the biggest problem ends up being this. With Title IX, you're going to have to pay people across the board, and student athletes and state employees. So now I can fire you. And so it's this Pandora's box where what we're basically going to develop eventually is a minor league system for the NFL. And it's all going to take the NCAA and say, go away, we're going to do our own thing. We're going to be super D1, and it's going to be made up of 5 conferences, and we're going to play football differently than everybody else. The student athlete, he's going to go to Akron. He's going to go to southeastern Louisiana. He's going to go to Florida and A&M. The professional, or soon-to-be professional, is going to be the guy at Purdue, the guy at Notre Dame, the guy at Georgia.
Get him, Los.
But see, Los, I disagree with the Title IX thing because it's not the schools paying the players. It's different if you say, hey, we're going to give you a $2,500 stipend. Then you have to go to the gymnastics team, the lacrosse team, the water polo. If these kids are benefiting outside of the school paying them, I don't think Title IX is going to get involved in this at all.
Well, and that's where I think this is a slippery slope where ultimately we're going to have a professional sports league. And just as you guys said and brought it up earlier, where, you know what, WNBA players don't make the same thing as NBA players. Well, it's going to go along those lines, and you're right. It'll be funded completely differently where my football players make significantly different than my basketball players, my gymnasts, or anything else like that. It's going to be a revenue-driven model, and more than anything, and I don't know if everyone wants to hold up a glass to this, the NCAA goes away and they lose big time.
Glasses up.
Yeah. We're cheers into
We
that
got
one.
lots of them here, Los. We miss you.
So,
How you doing, brother?
I'm just driving.
We haven't seen you in a couple of weeks. You all right?
Dude, he was on the beach
Yeah,
for a week. He's fine.
Yeah, I'm good. You know what? I'll be right back on the air tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. with Nick and Chris, so the grind will begin once again.
My man, Los Medina.
Love y'all.
He'll
Bye.
be on the Fan, 680. 93.7 FM tomorrow. We'll revisit this a little bit later next hour. I just think that it's way past time, and I think you're right, Hoyt, to some degree. The Pandora's box. My thing is rules. You can always make rules and modify rules. So there are going to be some things, and we'll hear next hour Gene Smith, AD from Ohio State. He's against it, but he was very measured, and even though I didn't agree with him, he made very good points about the dangers of what could come if you open up name, imaging, and licenses or likenesses being used for money. And he's right to some degree. I think ultimately he's wrong in that all you have to do is make rules. People who break rules have to be punished, but you can't not allow the masses to benefit because a few people are going to break rules. Punish the rule breakers.
Don't say masses. Don't say masses. It's still the minority. The minority is the ones that's going to get paid.
But you say that, and I take somebody like Joe Hamilton. Joe Hamilton was up for the Heisman, but he had teammates that weren't up for the Heisman that came from smaller towns. If a car dealer in a town.
But why are they? Like you even mentioned, like Kincaid, Oliver, Domino, or whatever. You're going to go after the big names. It's not no offense, it's not the Hoyt that you want. It's the big name you want. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
That does make sense. A car dealership wants to be in front of Jake Fromm or
Correct.
DeAndre Swift. He doesn't want to be in front of the third-string quarterback or a walk-on or a redshirt.
And that's why I say it's going to be the minority of players. The 2% of guys are the ones that are going to be cashing in on this.
But the other side of it is, and go back to the video game conversation, if EA Sports decides to come out and says, all right, we're going to do the game and we're going to do it right, and we're going to use the player's likeness. And for every game that's sold, if you're on the game, and there was like 75 guys per team on the game, you're going to get X amount of dollars. So guys still can make money. Now, they're not going to make it like Fromm or they're not going to make it like Swift, but they can still make something.
But everybody signed the Ed O'Bannon deal, made like $11 on that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
He screwed all of us for $11.
It's chump change, but if you're going to use the NCAA argument, I give up. No matter. You guys win. Just give me my game back, and you can pay him whatever you
want. The one
want.
thing I will say is people, the fear that I keep hearing is that, Ohio State's fan base would be able to pay more or Georgia's fan base would be able to pay more. Aren't there already inequities? Isn't Georgia and Alabama and Ohio State's indoor and weight rooms better and easier to woo people away from a smaller
Texas is the
school?
most profitable program in the country,
scares me too.
and they're not winning any championships.
Amen.
So
Good point.
just having the greatest dollar signs attached to you. Hate to say it, Georgia's like number 2, and they still haven't won championships.
Why
like
you got to
they
bring that up? Why you got to bring that up?
I brought Texas up first, though.
It's coming. Why are you being like that? You know it's coming.
I mean, they're going to win one this year.
Right, Kirby,
It'll be good.
it's coming.
Thank you.
You know it's coming.
Don't get on the wrong
Y'all
foot
see this
with me.
Snoop Dogg? He appeared at Kansas. Kansas had to apologize for a performance Snoop Dogg gave. College basketball opening up their pre-fan series as basketball season gets ready to kick off, and they have concerts and they have slam dunk competitions. Well, Kansas had Snoop Dogg show
All right.
up.
Snoop-a-loop.
For a show that they called, and I don't know who is behind this, Late Night in the Fog.
Okay.
Fog Island Fieldhouse.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's a play.
P-H-O-G.
Yeah.
Late Night in the Fog with Snoop Dogg. Snoop was supposed to perform. When you have entertainers, you usually sign a contract, and there are things you can say and not say it, obviously, in front of college kids. You don't want the album version.
Oh, good
Apparently,
Why?
Snoop got a little loose, got a little blue with the language, and the university thought that he was going to do the clean versions and had to issue an apology.
My thing is, really, do you think kids that are in college don't know the real lyrics at this point? I hate to tell you, most kids now have Spotify. They may tell their parents they're listening to the edited version. When you're not in the room, they're not. When I was in 6th grade, I had a 2 Live Crew cassette tape.
Good.
What's
My
a
mom,
cassette?
yeah, I know. I had erased it off of there because there was some very dirty lyrics on the front or the names of the songs. One day, my mom goes, "Oh, let's listen to what you're listening to."
No.
And my jaw dropped. I'm like, "No!" And she had already had it in the tape deck. Somebody say,
Take it
"Hey!"
off, take it off.
I said, "Yeah." And she looked at me and goes, "Do you know what that means?" I was like, "Can I just have my tape back, please?" Like, I'm very embarrassed. Why does the college have to apologize for this?
Well, I think as a public university, there are standards, and you want the right things. The things that you do in your personal time, that's your business. The things that we put on as a university, that's for the masses.
We want some.
It's 18 to 22-year-olds. It was more offensive, I guess, the fact that he had those T-shirt cannon guns and he was shooting money at women on stripper poles in the gym.
Yes, and he had his
That's
face
probably
on the money.
You hired Snoop.
I
What
know.
the hell did you think you were
Thank
getting?
you, Brian Hoyt.
Yeah,
What
you didn't
did
hire
think-
Maroon 5.
What did you think could go wrong? So Kansas apologizes. Kids didn't have a problem. The adults had the problem. They're going to move on.
Kansas should apologize for their ignorance. It has nothing to do with Snoop. Snoop
When we get
shouldn't
back,
apologize.
we may have a moral dilemma as the holiday season approaches. How will we fix it? That's coming up next. Home team Brandon Leak, Brian Hoyt, John Michaels, live from Sports and Social here in the Battery, Atlanta on College Game Day here on The Fan, 680, 93.7 FM.
Somehow, some way,
Tomorrow
keep
night,
coming up
it's
with-
going to be a huge Game 3 as the Braves and Cardinals take the division series out to St. Louis, and the Fan is loaded with 680 Game Day, the Ford leadoff show, and every pitch of Game 3 from Busch Stadium.
1-1 to Acuna. He sends one soaring. Deep left field. Way back to the wall and gone!
This is the only place to be for the playoffs because only the Fan brings you that unrivaled flagship coverage.
Hard hit ball to deep right field. Heads up in the chop house. Gone!
This is the Fan, 680 and 93.7 FM.
King here, and I have been spreading the good news for over a decade now of how awesome my real estate expert Rhonda Duffy and Duffy Realty is at selling homes. Rhonda sold 3 of my homes and saved me nearly $35,000, and that's take home. That's cash in my pocket. What is that, $50,000 pre-tax income? Thank you, Rhonda. And the way Rhonda has done this year after year is simple. Duffy flexibility. The money you save by being charged only $500 and then 0.75% when it's sold, it allows more money to stay in the deal and makes for a quicker win-win for you and your buyer, and it gets a deal done. Secondly, Rhonda and her team of Duffy experts by specialty wrote the book on what it takes to sell successfully. And third, well, your part's easy. Since Duffy does it all, you get to sit back, relax, and count all that extra money that you worked for in the first place, because money matters. Call Duffy today and let Rhonda rock for you. DuffyRealtyATL.com.
DuffyRealtyATL.com.
Football season is rolling, and if you think you got the winners this week, and make them count, bet, win, and get paid at MyBookie.ag. MyBookie.ag has more odds and more prop bets than any other sports book, and absolutely nobody pays out faster.
Say,
Get
what
your
did the guy
cash
say? What did the
when
guy
you
on?
want
Just hop
it.
on
Sign
mic,
up now.
Derek.
MyBookie will double your first deposit. That's up to $1,000.
What's the guy's
in
name?
free money when
Let's
you bet your
see.
favorite teams. You want more? How about $100,000
Brett Walters.
What up,
more?
Brett?
You win
He
MyBookie's
wanted to know. He's
first
talking
ever
about.
NFL
He was
handicap
talking
super
about
contest
the
with 100
Braves. He knows it's still the postseason, but what do you guys see the Braves doing in the offseason? They have a lot of money coming out
Who
the
is this?
table. Says this is Brett Walters.
We can talk to him now. He's watching.
Yeah, sure.
Brett, what was the question? I heard the last
Talking about you know it's still the postseason, but what do you see the Braves doing in the offseason? They have a lot of money coming off the table. I think the two of the biggest questions, obviously Josh Donaldson. A lot of people have questions about Dallas Keuchel. Is Julio Teheran going to
I
stay
feel
around?
better about Keuchel than I do Donaldson, and not because it could be contentious. I think Donaldson has hit himself into a mega
Out of a different
contract.
market.
And I don't know if the Braves want to pay him with Pache coming up and Waters coming up and Acuna Jr.
And Austin Riley, we forgot about Austin Riley, plays third base, you know?
He'll be a third baseman.
Here's the thing with that. Donaldson never got his big contract. He came off the MVP season and then got hurt and then went to free agency and never got his big contract. So to me, Donaldson is looking for that, give me 5 years and give me my money. I think the Braves are willing to do it on a short term, whether it's 1, 2,
He's gonna
3
want
years.
5 years.
He wants the guarantee in the 5 years. So that's my worry about that. Now,
Children's Healthcare of Atlanta.
You want to talk about a Rendon at third base? I'm all
Learn
in, and
more
he is a
at
free agent, and that is the guy that I think
CHOA.org/ortho.
you wouldn't miss a beat if you went after him and let Donaldson walk. And by the way, Rendon's going to walk.
Rendon, though, is looking at like $250
Yeah, the
million.
Nationals have already offered him a gigantic
He wants
contract.
to. You want to pay him
with
third
Harper,
baseman
though.
$250 million?
Yes.
Okay.
If he's going to, if it's not, the Braves aren't worried about the money. The Braves are worried about the years. Does that make sense? I don't want your back end. I don't want your 35, 36 when you're at that
I'd rather
age.
pay Rendon this.
Yep. And the thing is, and we always talk about this all the time, money whip a guy. Get him down on the years and money whip him for a good 3 or 4 years, but give him that extra money instead of the 6, 7 kind of year deal. That's where I think they can go. You know who I'd like to see get in on, though? Garrett Cole.
Yeah.
God, could you imagine this rotation if you had Cole there?
They're going to have money to play with, so
Garrett's going to want a huge contract, but that is the guy I would let Keuchel walk. Because you're already paying Keuchel what? On an AAV, I think you're paying Keuchel 20?
It would have been more than. I think it would have been more than that. Yeah, I don't know, but I think
pay it to Cole based on that. Then you're going to pay him more, but then you get a guy like Ian Anderson into the rotation with a Soroka, with a Freed.
I just like, and Derek Schiller said the other day they're going to put all this money they're making, they're putting it right back into the team. So hopefully that payroll
because he has to say that.
I know, but that payroll is going to keep going up.
You're
man.
right.
I think it will. Brett, thanks for watching.
Alex is smart enough that he's okay with the money. It's the years, because you don't want to be the guy holding the contract at the end of all of it, saying, "Why am I still paying a guy 22 when he's 37 years
old?" In the second quarter, number 5 LSU leads Utah State 14-6. Number 6 Oklahoma and Kansas are scoreless.
That's a pro.
Little delay in that game. Number 8.
How many is he holding? 4?
That's a pro.
You could have been a waiter for me anytime.
I could do 3. I don't know if I could do 4.
That game.
I stick my fingers in them when I carry that many.
Michigan
Thank you,
not
sir.
having any trouble with number 14.
I got to go to a birthday party after
They
this.
lead 10-0, and number
So,
21
does the
Oklahoma
tab
State
work up here?
in
We have to go
trouble
see a certain
and on
person.
upset
So
alert
I've been
as
seeing a certain
Texas
person just
Tech
because these aren't
leads
open yet.
13-0
But
in the
oh, he
second
said it's
quarter.
open now. Okay.
With the Georgia
Is it
United
still your
Credit
hamstring
Union
or your
College Scoreboard.
Achilles?
I'm Rhino, and you're listening to
Why
the
are you
most
limping then?
powerful voice in sports, the Fan.
Oh, okay.
680 and 93.7 FM.
This is College Football Saturday.
you saw him,
on
home team. He was
680
not
The
moving
Fan,
well.
Powered by Georgia's own
I
credit
worry
union.
about you with the flag football and the injuries and
Fans
everything
College
else.
Game
Got a big
Day,
game tomorrow
live from
night.
How many
Sports
times
and
you blown out
Social
your
at the
Achilles?
Battery Atlanta.
You haven't retired.
We've got college scores and stats all afternoon on the College Football
Stay up,
Voice
my
of
man.
the South.
Stay
The
up.
Fan, 680 and 93.7 FM.
Welcome back in to College Game Day, live from Sports and Social here in the Battery, Atlanta. Home team Brandon Leak from the Sports X, Brian Hoyt, John Michaels, live here until 2 o'clock on the Fan, 680, 93.7 FM. You can give us a call, 404-231-1680.
You guys just missed a great sight downstairs here at Sports and Social. LSU, I guess, scored a touchdown to go up 14-6. I'm assuming there's some former LSU cheerleaders sitting at a table.
Oh, goodness.
So when LSU scored, they actually got up and did the entire LSU touchdown cheer, like, ha, da, 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 whatever they were doing. Not sure they spelled Tigers. I know that's the extent of the education at LSU.
Oh,
but
goodness.
Derek, we're going to move the
That
table
was
down
a nuke.
there.
That wasn't a shot. My goodness.
During the break, right next
Fine
to them.
lawyers that come out of LSU.
Now, what are y'all doing tomorrow? Because we got 1 o'clock Falcons kickoff, 4
right.
o'clock. We're going to try to get a table here tomorrow
For the
and
Braves?
do both. Yeah.
I will be a little late because I will
Church. Yeah, I understand.
See if I can go get my Lord on and then see
My
if the Falcons can keep me religious and then come see the Braves.
You better pray a lot.
I work until 5 a.m. tonight, and then I'm supposed to, because I'm working today, do some stuff with the kids tomorrow. But if I can get away, me and the wife will come up here and
All right.
and drink the day away.
All right.
Are y'all's wives big Black Friday shoppers? My wife, and she has been. She goes through ups and downs. She can be. But I would say she more so is than not. She saves up and then knows and identifies certain products that she wants, and then she wants to attack.
What's the online one? Isn't there an
Cyber
online?
Monday.
Cyber
Yeah,
Monday.
Cyber
That's
Monday.
where my wife goes.
Apparently, some of these big box stores are going to be closed this holiday season
Really?
for Black Friday. And, you know, workers have families too.
Diverse Friday.
The public, though, may react negatively. And so it asks the question, is there a dilemma? Are you going to be able to cool out until Cyber Monday, or are people going to act crazy like it's the end of the world?
I will give my best piece of shopping advice, and I'm a guy that has a bunch of shoes and a bunch of clothes. I'm one of those people. You can get just as good deals today online as you will get on Black Friday or Cyber Monday.
I think so, too.
The difference is you just have to look for them. Cyber Monday, every now and then, they'll throw a couple of things up. I bought a 60-inch TV for $250 a couple of weeks ago or a couple of months ago at Best Buy because they had it on special. The difference is you wait for Black Friday. People go, I got to run to the store.
Hoyt, you disagree?
Because I've been that guy that sat out on Thursday night. Like we did an early Thanksgiving at noon.
You've been in it.
And it was one of those, apparently it's not cold anymore, but it was one of those Thursday night kind of specials where it dropped down to like 22. We had the tent and everything. We were back in college. I didn't have kids and everything or responsibilities, but I think they had a laptop for like $200, and I was like, done. I'm going to sit in line. Biggest waste of my time. I'm at the point now, I'll pay for the convenience of not having to sit in that stupid line for 12 hours and freeze my butt off and have to. The only thing that kept us warm was Jaeger. We had a tent and we had a bottle of Jaeger and we just kept passing
Why does
it
that
around.
not surprise me at all?
That's what keeps you warm in the winter. I'm over, and I think, honestly, I think we're at a point now, our society is almost over that, right? You see the viral videos of people fighting over it, but it doesn't happen near as much as it used to. I think online has kind of changed the way they can do that, and so hopefully everybody's okay with this.
Yeah, I think ultimately what they don't sell, on that Friday, they can put online
on
and
Monday.
have riding around to be delivered at your house on Monday. So I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal.
You've never sat outside, though, and done
Oh,
that?
yeah. I went one time. I was
Really?
at the store at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Were you
Looking to
drugged
get a
there
deal
by
on
your
jeans.
wife? On jeans?
Trying to get some jeans.
What kind of
jeans and
jeans?
clothing years ago. Wife wanted to go. I forget what store it was, but we were there.
You were
at
at
3 o'clock.
distant replays at 3 a.m., weren't you?
I've
Shout
been
out to
there before.
Andy.
Shout out to Andy.
Yeah, that's our guy.
I think he's out in California now.
He is.
The bottom line is I got sucked in. Woman said she wanted to go. I had to go.
Oh, yeah.
Got sucked in, and then what made me mad was on the way out. It was like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, and one of the salespeople just leaned over and said, well, we restocked the store after the big rush. We restock everything about 7:30, 8 o'clock. That's probably about the time you want to come in.
So here's how I get out of that. I usually I go, here, honey, whatever you need. You just kind of slide the credit card across the table. I'm not getting up at 3 a.m.
I would never do it again.
The only thing I've ever done,
Madden.
No, I used to do college
Midnight,
football.
I would do the Madden rush, but people would rush and wait outside in line. I'd walk into Walmart at 1 and there was no line, and I was like, you people are stupid.
I'd go to GameStop maybe at 12:15. By the way, Kansas up 7-0 on Oklahoma early on.
Oh, they like the Snoop Dogg.
They had some motivation. They saw
Snoop
strippers
resonated.
and money.
I would never do it again. To each his own. Shop how you want to shop. I would say I don't think this is going to be a big deal. And I agree with you, Hoyt, with the online stuff. We'll figure it out.
My time is more valuable to me than saving $200.
Yes,
it just
man.
is.
All right, when we get back, are we seeing the one thing Georgia Bulldog fans were promised to see this year?
Nope.
We'll get to that. He's Brian Hoyt. I'm Home Team. John Michaels. We're all here live from Sports and Social here in the Battery, Atlanta on the Fan. 680, 93.7 FM.
680 The Fan's college
Yeah, it's a
football
miserable
Saturday,
existence going
powered
out
by
and sitting out.
Georgia's Own Credit Union. Become one of Georgia's Own now at georgiasown.org.
Hey Bulldog fans, Georgia United Credit Union now offers Georgia Bulldogs debit cards. Now you can show your UGA pride everywhere you go and spend. Pick your favorite design and score yours today. Georgia United makes banking easy, friendly, and smart for busy members. Attack the day with a free checking account that pays big interest. It's the smart choice. Visit GUCU.org/GODAWGS for important account information. Insured by NCUA. Georgia United, the official credit union of Georgia Athletics.
So let's see. Call center worker, extension cord salesman. Yeah, that was a real thing. Credit card collections. Yeah, these are all jobs that I had and hated before I went to the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. Hey, it's Rob Jenners, production director here at The Fan. I am a graduate of the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. There's a campus right here in Atlanta, and their broadcast media program teaches pretty much everything. Audio and video production. So if you want to do a podcast, or you're a YouTuber, or you want to start a Twitch channel, or if you want to get into TV or sports broadcasting, it's all there for you at the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. You learn by doing from industry pros that are working in radio, TV, digital media, podcasting right now. Look, I used to hate getting up and going to work to do any one of those other jobs. Here, We joke every day that we get to play radio. Set up a studio tour at the Connecticut School of Broadcasting and check it out. Just visit GoCSB.com for more information. That's GoCSB.com. Day and evening classes start in November. So here's your chance. GoCSB.com.
Do you always say the right thing? I sure don't. In fact, Scripture tells us the only person who never blows it is the person who is perfect. Well, there's only been one of those, and his name is Jesus. We're going to blow it. See, the tongue is like the rudder on a great ocean liner. The captain knows whichever way he turns the rudder, the ship will go. That tiny rudder in that enormous ship controls the direction that it goes. Well, the tongue is just as powerful when it comes to how we use it. Adolf Hitler's words led the German people into incredible acts of evil. Yet thankfully, Winston Churchill's words gave courage to the British people to never give up in defeating Nazi Germany. So remember how powerful that little organ in our mouth is. It can be used for good and it can be used for evil. With God's help, let's use it for good. This is Bryant Wright. I hope speaking for good, right from my heart.
You can try to run, but you won't escape us.
And the Braves will raise another banner over Atlanta.
Fight, but we don't quit.
First pitch and a towering fly ball. This one is gone.
Down 4, bottom 8, we're coming for you.
This is going to drop in. McCann's about to be a hero. Base hit and the Braves win it.
Blink, and we've scored 4 more on you.
It's gone again. 4 bombs, 1 inning.
Victory. It's our only option.
Have a seat. Swung on and missed.
You see, we don't stop.
Hit high and a clap of thunder from the bat of Donaldson. And out of here.
We warned you.
That ball is hammered. Heads up, chop house.
We're relentless.
Cross to left. Forget about it. That ball is way out of here.
Atlanta Braves postseason baseball. Be a part of this. Go to Braves.com/relentless.
Last summer was one of the hottest on record. Dan Jape of Reliable Heating and Air here with a preseason blowout special. We've purchased truckloads of train units direct from the factory to get the very best prices. We're overstocked and we're passing these savings on to you. Reliable will beat any company in town with our lifetime warranty. That means you'll never be charged for repairs, maintenance, or filters. Call or text Reliable at 770-594-9969 or visit on the web at reliableair.com.
The National League Division Series is on, and the Fan is the only station in the South live from the ballpark for every moment of the playoffs.
Ignition and liftoff. Home run out of Donaldson.
WCNN North Atlanta, a Dickey broadcasting station.
Get that man an umbrella.
And the 10-year home of the Braves, the Fan. Keeping you up to speed on all the afternoon college action. The Fan's College Game Day, live from Sports and Social on the biggest college football station in the country. The Fan, 680 and 93.7 FM.
Welcome back in to College Game Day live from Sports and Social. Home team Brandon Lee, Brian Hoyt, John Michaels. Here until 2 o'clock on the Fan, 680, 93.7 FM. You can give us a call, 404-231-1680. Make sure you tap that app. Download the Sports X app. It is free. And also download the Sports X app, the 680 and Sports X apps in the Google Play and iTunes stores. I'm a part of the Sports X app. 680 The Fan sister station. That looks good.
I got mine, home team.
Brian Hoyt, and you can hear the home team in Hamilton show 9 to noon with myself and the all-time leading passer.
I got mine
Georgia
too.
Tech.
Look at that.
Oh, John.
Oh, no.
You can hear Tug Coward and Hudson Mason.
Yep.
You can hear Mark Zeno, A to Z. Also, the last hour of Chuck and Chernoff on the Sports X and the fine stable that we have presented for you here on 680 The Fan. You can take anywhere on the planet Earth if you download the Sports X and 680 The Fan apps.
Not China. They
Yeah,
regulate.
they do block.
Yeah, they block
Really?
out. Yeah, they regulate
They block
what you
everything.
can listen to.
There's a
Anywhere
lot of
else,
things you can't get in
you're
China.
good. They're communist, you know.
Yeah, they don't
Sure,
let the
they
people
like to
decide.
have control of what they do here.
They don't like the people to decide.
By the way, we were talking to Oklahoma before we went to break. Down 7-0. First time they've trailed all season long. Now, they are, I believe, marching right back down the field to try to tie it up.
It won't be long.
In beautiful Lawrence, Kansas. But Jalen Hurts, I believe they went 3 and out to start the game. So it's interesting to see.
Clutch the pearls.
I know we're going to get into this a little later on, but just teams, we haven't seen an upset yet, and one is brewing somewhere.
Is
It ain't going to be Georgia, I can
Is
promise
it?
you that. Something's going to happen sooner within the next.
I feel like we're grasping for one. Like last year,
We're begging for one.
We don't have one yet.
Last week, LSU was trailing 7-0 against Vandy.
Ooh.
Is it going to happen here? And then,
wow, Clemson had their cojones up
Now,
in
that
their
was
throat
close.
last
that
week.
is true.
That was a close. Did y'all have a problem with that? I didn't have a problem.
Going
Matt Brown,
for two? Hell no. Go
Matt
for it.
Brown did the right thing. You have a team that has not lost a game since 2017.
Right.
On the ropes. You're at the 2-yard line.
In your hometown.
You're at home. If you go for two, there's some time left on the clock. But the way you play defense, make them go down the field and make any college kicker kick a potential game winner. I had no problem with the decision to go.
How
The
about the
play
play
call,
call? Yeah.
The
trying
play
to
was
run
stupid.
a little option. I don't know what you were doing, but Matt Brown should get no criticism for trying to go for two to get up one in the waning minutes against Clemson
Here's the
at
thing.
home.
When you're in overtime in college football, it's 25 yards. You're not getting many stops anyway.
No.
Then the talent starts to wear on you.
Exactly.
North Carolina was gassed in the second half. They had given everything they had to get there. I hate, and I go back to Dirk Cutter in 2012. Stop, and I could also go to Steve Sarkisian in 2017. Stop running plays with your season on the line where you roll a quarterback and take half the damn field out of the equation. They took a timeout to run triple option, basically, where you didn't have a triple option with a quarterback who's not a running quarterback against the most athletic defense in college football. I didn't get that, but I had no problem with them going.
Go back to the Michigan Army game earlier this year. It was a point where everybody knew Army was gassed at that point. If they could have taken them and just had one opportunity to get the 2-point conversion, they would have done it. Instead, you have to go against a better team in overtime, and the better team normally comes out.
Same thing happened to Army last year against Oklahoma.
Yep.
Got to overtime,
Good point.
couldn't
That's
do
a
it.
good point. That's a very good point. Dogs in action tonight. They're up the road taking on the Tennessee Volunteers in Knoxville. The line, I think, was 24 and a half. I think it was 24 and a hook the last one I saw.
I've got
last
Georgia
night.
41-7.
Yeah,
This is
I'm
Route
thinking
City.
41-13.
But it's a true freshman.
How are they going to score 13?
But it's a true freshman.
You know what?
We don't know what it's gonna
my
be.
prediction.
I just want to know, how are they going to score 13?
48-7, 48-10. Like, this is going to be a rocket. And good for Kirby. Do not come up off of the gas. Jeremy Pruitt.
He's a jerk. Let's call it
certainly
like
has
it is.
not been the best man in the streets with his mouth talking about Georgia folks and former Georgia coaches, the way he was running off at the mouth when Mark Richt was here.
You know
Do
you're
not
a bad
come off the
person.
gas.
You really know you're a bad person when Mark Richt doesn't like you. Like, you could walk up and kick Mark Richt in the store, and he's not going to get – he didn't like Jeremy Pruitt.
You're missing the boat on this one. We all loved Jeremy Pruitt because Jeremy was trying to do things the way Kirby is doing them now. Mark was doing – and Mark wasn't having that. Hey, I run this program. We don't have an indoor facility if Jeremy Pruitt doesn't run off at the mouth and go out there and talk about our indoor facility. And it pissed off McGarity and it pissed off Richt. And, hey, I'm the one that speaks for this team, not you. But you know what?
Isn't that disrespectful?
It is.
Take
but
it
you
to
know
the
what?
coach and have the coach say it.
He got what he wanted. He got what he wanted. He wasn't here for it, but he got what he wanted.
So Pruitt got you an indoor facility. Mark Richt ponied up $1 million of his own dollars
he
to get
did.
us an indoor facility.
Yeah, he did.
So as much as Mark Richt was not the best game day coach, I say thank you, Coach Richt. You let Manny Diaz start with the turnover chain. You got us an indoor practice facility. Now if we can find some damn offensive linemen, and I'm up for brokering some cash to bring offensive linemen to South Florida, I'll be a happy man.
Here's a question, and Hoyt, you can lead this off. Georgia fans were promised something.
Yeah.
They were promised something definitive. Havoc.
Havoc.
What is havoc?
Well, the
Sacks.
havoc rate is tackle for loss,
Right.
sacks, fumbles, pass breakups, INTs.
Breakups and pass breakups.
Yes, and it's something Georgia, to this point, still has not done. Now, Georgia's defense itself, these are great numbers. You're 6th in scoring defense. You're only giving up 10 points a game, best in the SEC. You're 13th in the country in passing yards given up. You're 5th in the country in rushing yards given up. Those are awesome numbers.
Yes.
But you ain't done havoc yet, and we were promised havoc. We were going to get to the quarterback, whether it was Jermaine Johnson coming in, or Nolan Smith, the true freshman, or Adam Anderson, or Ojulari off the edge. Your havoc leader, your sack leader right now, you have 5 guys with a sack and a half, which is actually good. I enjoy having not one guy with 5 sacks. And Mike Smith goes back to this.
Hey, guys.
I'd rather have more guys that can get to the quarterback. I'd rather not have one guy with 13 sacks. I'd rather have 8 guys with a total of 13 sacks because now it's different looks and everything else. But Kirby promised us we were going to have havoc. Georgia is 52nd in the country in sacks right now. When you take out the back half of the defense and it's just the front 7, you're 86th in the country. I have not seen the havoc that I was promised at this point. I think you're going to see some of it today against Tennessee with a true freshman under center, but I'm still waiting for those pass rushers to show up today.
Georgia averages 2 sacks per game. 2. Would you be mad if I told you they average the same amount of sacks per game as, the team called the Alabama Crimson Tide, who also averaged 2 sacks per game? Now, in fairness, they're 66. They're tied for 65th with Alabama, New Mexico, Kansas, Fresno State, Texas A&M, Texas Tech. Like, there's a lot of bad football teams that Georgia's tied with. The top of the list right now in sacks per game in college football, SMU with 5 per game. Love what Sonny Dykes is doing there. Florida with 5 per game. Now, that's trumped up because Miami's offensive line. They would have been better shoving me at left tackle.
Did they get 10 in that game?
10. And they could have had 11.
Sorry, John.
And I had to watch Jaron Williams get hit for every one of those. Ohio State's averaging 4.6 sacks per game.
Which is a stupid defense right now. Everybody wants to talk about Justin.
They're
What
good.
they're doing on defense
They're
is
good.
what's different this year.
Pitt is averaging 4.5 points per game, or 4.5 sacks per game, and Virginia at 4.2. Those are your sack leaders in the NCAA. 2018, the leader was Clemson at 3.6 sacks per game.
And we know how that ended.
It ended in a national title.
Well, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen today. Georgia's numbers are going to go up today. Tennessee starting a true freshman quarterback. If I'm Kirby, I'm sending blitzers. I'm sending heat every time they drop back to pass. And the Georgia Bulldogs end up with 7 or 8 sacks today, whooping up on them.
I'll give you the over-under right now if I was going to mybookie.ag. I think my over-under would
You
be.
got the plug.
I
There you
did.
go.
I've handed them some cash here in the last couple of weeks. I heard Cellini talking about it. I said, man, I haven't gambled in a while. Now I know why I haven't gambled in a while, because I might as well have just given you the money and let you give me half back, because I would have been in a better situation than I am right
As
now.
all of us would be.
Over-under for both of you. 4.5 sacks today for Georgia. I'm taking the under.
I'm taking the under as well.
Golly, y'all going to do me like that? I'm taking the over.
All right, that's fair.
I think y'all are right, but I'm going to take the over.
I just haven't seen it. Now, here is the silver lining, I guess. Georgia only had 24 total sacks last year. You got 12 this year.
Right.
Now, they're coming from different guys, so you in 4 games, you've got half as many as you had last year. We were promised havoc, though, and I have not seen it out of the front 7. Last year, I understood. Last year, Kirby was trying to kind of baby that backfield a little, or that defensive backs a little bit. You had Baker on one side, and he didn't want to get exotic, but I got guys now that I trust all over the field. I got 2 guys who are senior leaders or a junior and Richard LeCount and J.R. Reed and LeCount back there. I trust my young corners on the outside. I want to see the front 7 making some plays and getting after the quarterback. They did on Ian Book. We didn't have a lot of sacks on Ian Book. I think the game plan was honestly keep him in the pocket, keep that pocket contained, and that was the idea. Don't let him get outside. Keep him contained. Don't worry about the sack. Today, I want to see you do something different. Home team, I'd love the over on 4.5. I just haven't seen it yet.
By the way, I like, and I'm always a very aggressive, I'm a fan of the very aggressive play callers on defense. This kind of goes back, though, Hoyt, to your earlier point. When you're uber aggressive, sometimes you set yourself up for giving up bigger plays.
100%, which is what Kirby doesn't want to do. He wants to keep you in front of me. Keep the safeties back. I'm going to play too deep the entire time, and you beat me in front of me.
And think about those first couple of years Nick Saban in Alabama when his talent wasn't superhuman like it's been the last 9 or 10 years. He played a lot more conservatively defensively. He would play that 3-4. He'd send usually one guy in your typical 4-rush scenario, and he'd drop and play 7 and he'd make you paper cut them down the field. You're going to take 4 or 5 yards every time, and eventually the offense would make a mistake. Georgia does a lot of the same thing.
I'm okay giving up a touchdown. And by the way, Georgia's red zone numbers, fantastic. 7 opportunities, and you've only given up 2 touchdowns, and both were passing. So your red zone numbers are fantastic. So if you're going to get 12 to a 15-possession drive and then you're going to put up 7, Kirby says, I'm cool with that. You're going to earn yours instead of going over the top on me. I just want to see those guys, specifically on the front 4, develop a pass rush where we can just send 4 and drop the rest back.
Maybe they should do like Dan Quinn and make a Havoc T-shirt.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's been working out.
God in heaven.
That's been working out.
I love DQ, by the way.
I like him too,
No
but he
one's
needs to get his
blasting it.
I don't like
his
the
act in
T-shirts.
order, and he needs to get his defense and his offense in order. I like him too.
Do you?
I like the Pope. I don't need him coaching my defense.
I like
I
Mark
Dan
Richt.
Quinn. I don't know if I want him coaching my defense.
I like Mark
Don't
Richt
get me
until he was
started
my
today.
coach.
Yeah,
Then I
exactly.
didn't like him.
He's a great guy. It's that whole thing. I don't want to do Falcons
What,
with
gentlemen,
you guys.
is the state right now of the ACC?
Oh, boy.
Poop.
Coastal Division is wide open. Okay, Virginia is 4-1. Duke is 3-1.
Wait, the basketball schools? You're talking about basketball right now. You said Virginia
The
and
national
Duke.
champs.
Yeah.
UNC, they're 2-3. They take on Georgia Tech. They get to 3-3. They're still in the
Still
mix.
basketball.
So the Coastal is wide open. Over in the Atlantic, Clemson needs to kind of settle some nerves of their fan base after a close win against UNC. And Wake Forest this is the state of the Coastal. Florida State is looking up at Wake Forest in the Coastal Division in the ACC.
In football.
Wake
In the Atlantic Division, I'm sorry.
Wake Forest, I believe, today has a chance to go to 6-0 for the first time in
Unbelievable.
in 70 years or something ridiculous like that. Here's the funny thing. We all know Big Foe. It's our guy, Forrest Conley. I've seen Florida State fans, including Big Foe this week, saying, we're beating Clemson next week. I said, in what, an alumni game? Because you ain't beating, not with Willie on the sideline for Florida State. I want to go back to the Coastal, though. Boys.
This is your fault,
It's
by the
wide
way.
It is our fault.
This is your
It's
fault.
absolute-
Okay.
I blame Miami.
Yeah,
I
and
blame Virginia Tech.
And guess what? They play today in a game that nobody, if you're not a fan of Miami or Virginia Tech, gives one damn about. 2 years ago, this game was the primetime ACC. It was a primetime ABC game on Saturday night in front of a raucous Hard Rock Stadium crowd. In 2 years, you have Miami 2-2, who almost lost to Central Michigan, and you have Virginia Tech coming off a 40-point shellacking at the hands of Duke. Not in basketball.
You bring up a very good point. When we get back, today is one of those, what you just said. But are there a bunch of good rivalries that have gone bad? We'll get to that. Brian Hoyt, John Michaels, home team Brandon Leak. We are here live from Sports and Social. College Game Day here on The Fan, 680, 93.7 FM.
Tomorrow night,
We
it's
walk
gonna
it
be a
right at the
huge
Tech,
game
right? What
3
time do you need
as
us out
the
at?
Braves and Cardinals take the division series out to
Yeah, what's
St.
my out time?
Let me check it out here.
With 680 Game Day, the Ford Leadoff Show, and every pitch of Game 3 from Busch Stadium.
1-1 to Acuna. He sends one soaring. Deep left field. Way back to the wall and gone!
This is the only place to be for the playoffs, because only the Fan brings you that unrivaled flagship coverage.
Hard hit ball to deep right field. Heads up in the chop house. Gone!
This is the Fan 680 and 93.7
And you know what,
FM.
Rhino? We'll revisit
to be a part of this year's
the
JDRF1 Walk event. Saturday,
likeness
October
talk so we
19th
can
at
play those
Centennial
AD
Olympic Park.
cuts.
Check
Okay.
And
10:30 a.m.
then
the walk
so we'll
starts
come
at
back
9 a.m.
here
The JDRF1 walk
and
is
we'll
one
do
of
the
largest
rivalry
local
talk.
gatherings of type 1
We'll
diabetes
redo
with 10,000 people coming together to raise
the
awareness.
pay-for-play
ESOG
talk,
is proud to be
go to
sponsoring
break,
the Family
and then
Village
we'll
this
end the
year.
show
Come
on the
out
Lady with the
Saturday,
Lion.
October 19th at Centennial Olympic Park at 7:30 a.m. and join the fun.
Sounds good
with
to
that
me.
mean old lion stuff.
Matt Stinchcomb here again for ASW Distillery. You know what a lot of folks associate with college football season? Bourbon. Especially bourbon from Georgia's hometown whiskey distillery, ASW. I've known ASW Distillery founders Charlie and Jim since our days at UGA, and I routinely give
All right, our out time will be 55. I'll give you music at 54.
over to either of ASW's Atlanta locations in Buckhead or in the West End for a tour and tasting of their whiskey and cocktails, or pick up Fiddler for tailgates at your local bottle shop. ASW Distillery, delicious whiskey distilled by dogs.
The 22nd annual Motul Petit Le Mans comes to Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta, October 9th through the 12th for the 4-day festival of speed that's become a fall tradition of road racing in the South. Experience Corvette, Lamborghini, Ferrari, Porsche, Audi, Lexus, Acura, AMG, BMW, and more as they fight for the championship over the course of 10 grueling hours at the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship and Michelin Endurance Cup season finales. Fans can also experience the autograph sessions with all the international superstars of the sports car racing world, an open paddock, fan grid walk on race morning, night practice, manufacturer corrals, camping, beer garden, sports bars, shopping, food trucks, and more. In addition to the 10-hour main event on Saturday, October 12th, 3 additional racing series will compete for their respective championships throughout the week. Gates open Wednesday, October 9th. Tickets start at just $50 and are on sale now at roadatlanta.com. Kids under 12 get in free. The 22nd annual Motul Petit Le Mans at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta.
Call Superior Plumbing, day or night. Integrity and value for a job done right. For over 25 years, we've been on the scene with professional service, a reliable team. Superior, the honest one. Call 770-422-PLUM. Superior, the honest one. Call 770-422-PLUM. For any plumbing needs, you can count on us. For value and service, we're the ones to trust. We're there when you need us, so pick up the phone. With Superior Plumbing, you're never alone. Superior, the honest one. Call 770-422-PLUM. Superior, the honest one. Call 770-422-PLUM.
Are you in the market for an auto loan, a boat loan, or even a personal loan? Hey, it's Chuck Dowdle. Save money with my friends at Georgia's Own Credit Union. Because Georgia's Own is local and not-for-profit, they're known for having better rates and fewer fees. Now, through the end of November, you can save even more when you take advantage of their multi-loan discount. Get up to 1% off your next loan when you finance it with Georgia's Own. To learn more, visit georgiasown.org. I'm Chuck Dowdle, and I'm one of Georgia's Own.
Restrictions apply. Offer valid through November 31st. Visit georgiasown.org for complete details.
Searching for the perfect place to outfit your home and refresh your wardrobe in one fell swoop? Well, come to Atlantic Station, home to over 35 stores. Atlantic Station is a one-stop destination for everything you need from shops including H&M, Pandora, Dillard's, DSW, the Atlanta Falcons and United official team store, and many more. And make sure you keep an eye out for today's fresh deal. You'll see those signs in the store windows featuring deals and discounts sure to make your wallet smile. For additional details and to see our list of retailers, be sure to visit atlanticstation.com/shopping.
680 The Fan, college football sports page.
Good afternoon. It's me, Rhino, with the Georgia United Credit Union scoreboard. In local action today, number 3 Georgia heads to Knoxville to take on the Vols. That game at 7 p.m.
The
Georgia
680
Tech
party
welcomes
home
in
team that we
ACC
threw?
rival North
I thought it was a good
Carolina.
party. It was a
That game at
blast,
4.
dude.
You
It
can
was
hear all
ridiculous.
the action beginning
did you go to the
at
SI
2 o'clock
party?
right here on
I tried so
680
hard
The
to
Fan.
get into
And the
that
Georgia
one. I
State
could not get
Panthers,
into
they're
that
home
one.
this afternoon. They take on Arkansas
that
State.
one, yeah.
That game at 3:30. Some games going on right now in the top 25. Number 5 LSU not having any problems with Utah State. They lead right before the half, 21-6. Joe Burrow, 14 for 18, 187 yards and 2 touchdowns. Number 6 Oklahoma and Kansas tied at 7. That game in the second quarter. At the half, number 8 Wisconsin all over Kent State, 28-0. Number 12 Penn State leads 28-7 over Purdue, and number 19 Michigan leads 10-3 over number 14 Iowa. And one final game on upset alert. Number 21 Oklahoma State being shut out by Texas Tech, 20-0. That game right before the half. With the Georgia United Credit Union College Scoreboard, I'm Rhino, and you're listening to the most powerful voice in sports, The Fan, 680 and 93.7 FM.
This is College Football Saturday on 680 The Fan, powered by Georgia's Own Credit Union. The Fan's College Game Day, live from Sports and Social. We've got college scores and stats all
Team, I'm gonna
afternoon
get this
on the
USC
college
story
football
someday.
voice of the South. The Fan, 680 and 93.7 FM.
You're Rhino with your scoreboard, and we are going to be here until 2 o'clock. Home team Brandon Leak, Brian Hoyt, and John Michaels live from Sports and Social here on the Fan, 680, 93.7 FM. College Game Day today. Want to remind you, there's a big game that takes place every year in a building downtown Atlanta. The Benz is the nickname of the building. And all season long, you can register for a chance to get inside of that building to see a conference championship game. Not one played in January. One on December 7th.
What game would that be?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Must be the MAC.
Probably.
All you have to do is go to 680thefan.com/championship to register, and you could be in that game, in that building, which will include pregame, which includes transportation to 680 The Fans Championship Tailgate Party and 2 tickets. We just weren't going to send you to the building.
Oh, no.
2 tickets to get into the building for the championship game December 7th in the Benz. Also, we're going to give away a VIP table here at Sports and Social with a $2,000 tab. I'm trying to figure out, is that 5, 8, 12, 20, or 2 people?
Hoyt, we could do a $2,000 tab. We could do some damage not only to Sports and Social but to ourselves.
Well, now they've got the little VIP lounge set up too, where you can get bottle service here on the couch.
Leather sofas.
Yes.
This is first class. Let me tell you something. There's 4 things. There's first class.
Right.
Second class. Some class.
And then my class.
And no class.
That's our class.
I've definitely got no class.
This is first class. So go to 680thefan.com/championship to register. Coming up in about 8 minutes, we will get into names, images, likenesses.
Damn it, no.
And
Again?
get paid.
Not that.
We're going to hear a man that's going to calm us down.
All right.
Okay.
I don't agree with him.
That guy's not going to calm me down.
He is measured, and he makes sense. So even though I don't agree, unlike most people in this country, we usually just take a side and hate the other side.
This show is fair and
Yeah,
balanced.
we are fair.
Mostly.
We are fair. I
don't know about balanced.
We're fair.
Fair and
I
just.
don't agree with this guy, but he's measured, and I understand his points, even though I disagree. We'll get to him on this, getting players paid in college football. But, John, you brought up a good point about when I asked about the state of the ACC and the Atlantic Division, and it brings up an interesting point how Miami and Virginia Tech kind of going through some things. We blame them for the Atlantic, and if they could just if they could clean some things up a little bit, ACC football would be a lot better in the Coastal. So it brings the question, rivalry games, are they becoming one-sided now? And will generations to come see cultures change? And I say that to say, even today, going up the road to Knoxville, UGA and Tennessee, the Dogs have won 8 out of the last 11 games.
Yep.
They are owning the Tennessee Volunteers, and it's not going to get any closer. Kirby is at a 9. Tennessee is at a 2. When you talk about recruiting and state of your program, it's not going to get any better. Has that rivalry now become one-sided?
Here's the issue, and you can go Miami, Virginia Tech, Tennessee, Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, Ohio State, Michigan, if you want to throw them in there, USC, UCLA. I look at certain games, and they used to, even 5 years ago, if you would have told me today was Tennessee, Georgia, Miami, Virginia Tech,
right?
You talk about the other marquee matchups that we have with Auburn and Florida, Michigan and Iowa, this would have been a premier day of college football.
Should have been.
But Tennessee is they're not even they're
Kentucky.
They wish they were Kentucky.
Kentucky is better than Tennessee.
They're the carcass that's laying around like after a night at Sports and Social. You know, you have that one piece of carcass that's over in the corner. Miami and Virginia Tech are shells of their former selves. Justin Fuente's going to get fired at the end of this year if they can figure out the buyout.
Yeah.
And it's like $15 million, so Virginia Tech may have to live with it another year. Miami, obviously, with a new coach in Manny Diaz, is trying to grow with what Mark Richt sort of built up there a couple of years ago, but it's going to take some time. They're starting freshmen everywhere. These games, and it's not even about who's winning the most and who's losing the most. They've just lost a lot of their luster and importance, and it's not good for the game. We talked about having that line of demarcation earlier on where there's 6 or 7 teams above everybody else. We need Tennessee to be good. We need USC to be good. Maybe not Tennessee. We need USC to be good. We need Miami to be good. We need Florida State, as much as it makes me puke on my own vomit to think about. Those schools need to be good for college football to thrive the way that it has in the past. And all of them right now are going through things that they need to get better at.
Here's what stood out to me. Do you remember 2 weeks ago, Florida plays Tennessee? That was a noon kickoff.
That's embarrassing.
That isn't like we all grew up on the days. That's a 3:30 kickoff.
Do
and
you
it
know
should
what the
never
number
not
is on
be.
that game? The Gators have won 15 out of the last
Are you kidding me?
16 against Tennessee. Unbelievable. Yeah, I would not. If you asked me that question, how many times has Tennessee beaten Florida? I would say 4. The Gators have won 15 out of the last 16 matchups.
Take that part out of it, though. It still should be a marquee matchup
Right.
when it comes to television. Like Georgia, Florida. We went through the Spurrier years, and every Georgia fan knows what their record is when they go down to Jacksonville. I happen to be 3-9. But everybody knows their record, and the majority of them probably have a losing record going down there. But it's still always a 3:30 game. It's still always a big game at this point. I just think we're at a point now. The haves own it, and the have-nots don't. I don't know if it's good for college football or bad, but here's the funny thing. As a Georgia fan, and we always joke about Georgia had 1,000 rivals. Like Tennessee is a rival, Florida's a rival, Auburn's a rival, Spurrier turned South Carolina into a rival.
Georgia Tech, maybe.
Whatever. But the point is,
that's disrespectful.
I didn't mean to be. Yes, I
They're
did.
down.
But the point is, I only have one rival right now as a Georgia fan. It's
Bama?
Alabama,
Yeah.
and they're not even on my schedule. Like
Right.
how that's the point as a Georgia fan though, where I'm at. Like Ohio State and Michigan, we can call it a rivalry all we want. We can build up to it on ABC at 3:00 or whenever they kick off at noon. It's not. It hasn't been.
Yeah,
What I find
until
myself-
Michigan wins that game, it doesn't
Correct.
matter.
It's just one-sided. What I find myself doing is blaming. So in the ACC,
I blame John.
I blame.
I'll take all the blame.
Because Clemson, you have to give Dabo all the credit in the world.
He has
That
pulled
was
away.
just a program, and he has put it to the elite status that is supposed to be elite.
He's
You
an
can't-
SEC team playing
Right.
in the ACC right now.
So
Right.
all the credit goes to Dabo Swinney for that. That being said, I blame Florida State. They still have name recognition. They still can recruit. They still have cachet.
USA
And then-
Today had them by star ranking as the 5th best team by star
Wow.
ranking in college football. Yet if you watch Florida State, this is a team that beat Louisiana Monroe on a missed extra point.
if you want to do blue chip index, USC is in the top 5 in the blue chip index.
Yep. Yeah.
But they haven't held their own, and
Coaching.
so the Pac-12 doesn't get any talk, and it's probably USC's fault at this point. But it's not my job to make you guys keep up with me. If I'm Georgia or Alabama or Clemson or whoever, you need to keep up with me. I'm not coming down to you. I'm not playing down to you.
There's supposed to be some back and forth, even in the coastal of the ACC. Miami, Virginia Tech is supposed to have some cachet, and Miami has won 5 out of the last 7. That's not supposed to be. I don't care what side of the ledger or what fan base you're supposed to be on. That's supposed to be some back and forth between those programs.
That one has been a very streaky rivalry. You'll see Virginia Tech win 4 or 5 in a row, Miami win 4 or 5 in a row. I'll give you a better stat on the ACC Coastal. If Virginia's the favorite as we sit about halfway through. If Virginia
Where are
wins
we?
the Coastal this year, every team in the Coastal will have won the division in the last 7 years. It'll be 7 years, 7 different division champs if Virginia wins it this year. Think about that. When they set up the ACC the way that they did, they put Miami on one side, Florida State on the other, so those two could play in the conference championship game. They played in the conference championship games as many times as I've taken an at-bat at SunTrust Park, which is 0.
It's just to a point now where I'm not even sure. It feels like the games aren't even close in these rivalry games.
They're not.
If you want to go, if you want to call Georgia Tennessee a rivalry, last time we were in Knoxville, 41-0. You know what I mean? The beat down in 2017 against Florida where you were up 28-0, what felt like the first quarter.
Outside of a Hail Mary at the end of a game, Georgia has owned Tennessee the last decade.
And that's a you problem. That's not a me problem. Maybe it's a college football problem overall, but if you're one of the haves, if you're one of those groups of people that your team is on the top, that's a you problem.
But I will say this. College football is very cyclical. I write some for stateoftheu.com, University of Miami site, which is not germane to the conversation, but Miami fans are getting really impatient. It's been outside of 2017 and a couple of years where you had 9 or 10 wins. We've been a 500 team basically for a decade plus. Go back and look at the decade previous to Nick Saban getting there. Alabama was a 500 team. They went through 4 or 5 coaches. Tennessee is going through that now.
Yep.
Florida is hoping Dan Mullen's the guy that's finally got them back to being at the spot that they used to be. USC is going through it. After Pete Carroll's been gone, it was Lane Kiffin. It was, I can't even remember half the coaches that they've had. They had Clay Helton.
Clay Helton, Coach O was there after.
But the point is, every school in time has done it. Before Dabo Swinney had gotten there, Clemson was a middle-of-the-road program. Mark Richt took Georgia from a lower middle-of-the-road program to a good program, but not great. Or I would even say they were very good. They just hadn't gotten to the elite status. So eat it up while you can if you're Bama and Clemson and Georgia and Oklahoma. That time with one wrong coaching hire, one guy retiring
will set you back.
Will set you back a decade.
7 years, yeah. You're right about that. The number to call, 404-231-1680. It is College Game Day live from Sports and Social here in the Battery, Atlanta. Home team, Brian Hoyt and John Michaels. Coming up, we had a lady climb a fence into a lion enclosure.
I was so cheering for the lion. Come on, Simba.
I thought
Get
they were
it
trying
done.
to set him up. The look he had on his face was like, what are you doing here? You know they're going to hit me with a tranquilizer dart or with a sniper rifle.
No, you know what he was
if
saying?
I come towards you. What are we doing here?
No, you know what he was saying, home team? You bet not take another step towards me.
We're back to the bet nots.
We'll get to that, but we'll return to this impending change in college football. 13 states, gentlemen: California, Florida, New York, South Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, New Mexico, Minnesota, Nevada, Illinois, Colorado, Washington, all with legislation either on the books or getting ready to get on the books to say it is legal for college student athletes to make money off of their names, their images, or their likeness.
Pay me, bitch.
That's right. That's what
Coming
they're
up,
saying.
and they're trying to circumvent. And what they're doing is putting it on the books, and they're forcing the timetable in the hand of the NCAA to change their rules, because ultimately that's what it comes down to, the NCAA's rules. Here is athletic director at Ohio State, big-time program, a whole lot of money, national championships, one of the blue chippers. A.D. Gene Smith, he does say some things that are relevant, that make sense. I do not agree with everything he says, but the man is measured in what he's saying, and he first talks about concerns about opening up this opportunity for players to get paid and the potential violations that could come along with that.
How do you ensure that the unscrupulous bad actor does not enter that space and ultimately create an unlevel playing field? And we know that there's not a level playing field in a lot of different ways, but one of our principles is to try and create rules and regulations to try and achieve fair play. So how do you do that and ensure that the third-party bad actor doesn't enter that space and ultimately drive some environments to a point where recruiting becomes an even bigger advantage than it is for some other schools?
And that's fair. There's always somebody with more money. There's always a fan base that has more. There's always one guy who is willing to cut 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30,000 more than anybody else.
You would also like to think, though, that at some point some of these bigger city schools, USC being one, SMU being in Dallas, you've got locations that give you more opportunities. Now, Alabama's boosters probably have a hell of a lot more money than SMU's boosters. There's not even a doubt to that. But if somebody in one of those states really wants to go after it, to Gene Smith's point, do you come out and say, all right, coach, what do you need? I can use this kid's likeness. I'm going to buy billboards. We're going to pay $1 million for these billboards to put who is it? Shane Buechele's the quarterback at SMU, and we're going to put JT Daniels when he's healthy at USC. We're going to pay you guys $1 million for their likeness. That could be the Pandora's box, Hoyt, that you're talking about.
And that's what I worry about, not even from an on-campus standpoint, but from a recruiting standpoint, that you can get these guys in and promise them, hey, when you get there, even if you're a third-string running back, Kenny McIntosh, you're the fifth-string running back in Georgia. But I promised you when you get on campus, I will sign a contract with you that I'll pay you $1 million a year to endorse my car dealership, which to these guys, when we're talking big boosters, that's not anything.
Sure,
to them. You know what I mean? And so that ultimately is my fear. Now, to spin to your point, if you're Gene Smith of the NCAA, you've had years to figure this out.
They've been sitting on this for a decade, and now their hand has been forced. Here's another good point that Gene Smith cites, athletic director of Ohio State, and he cites a specific entity that exists right now where college athletes could make money and put money in their pockets right now if the laws and the rules were such.
Well, if we were under the SB 206, I would call it upon all 400 or 550,000 Buckeye alums across this country. You guys all pull up Cameo. Let's say Jerry Emick is my star linebacker, and he's on Cameo. What is it, like $150, $200 or something like that for him to do a shout-out to your best friend? All 550,000 Buckeyes across this country, you need to make sure you hook up with Jerry and do a Cameo and pay him $150. That's the world we be living in. That's the world we be living in. I don't want that. How do you regulate that?
And that's fair. I did the math. 550,000 alum at $150 a pop is $82,500,000.
So do this one. I have it.
I would want to be on Cameo if I was linebacker for Ohio State.
I've got at least 13 fans on social media. I can't charge $150. If I charge, say, $10, do I have enough to pay for lunch here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, not my drinks, but at least lunch you can pick
So
up.
Well, being that none of us ate, yeah.
That is a real-world example. Now, of the 550, there are some people who say none of these kids should get paid. I'm never going to do it. So the numbers are not going to be that high. But the point is, an entity like Ohio State and a player that plays, a student-athlete that plays at Ohio State, has a better potential than somewhere else.
I'd love to do a Twitter poll at 680thefan.com. Literally just ask, who is in favor of this, who is against this? Because I've had some knockdown dragouts with people about paying players. I am 100% a players advocate. Former athlete, I wish I would have made some money. I wasn't good enough. I played at a small school. I get all that. There wasn't a high demand in Tyler, Texas to pay me anything for hitting a couple of singles up the middle. Like, there was no demand for that. I wish I was good enough. But there are people, home team, to your point, that are steadfast against people getting paid in college. And my question is always how does it affect you? Now, if you say it affects you because your student or your daughter doesn't get the same access to making money, okay, I understand that. But if she is really good at academics and she holds up her end of the bargain, she can get that same $100,000 scholarship.
That's what changed me. I used to be 180 degrees.
Really?
Yes, I did. Because my brother-in-law played at Furman. While he was a football player, he interned in his off time. And he
got the
41,000.
Oh, that was the one that made the 41,000.
Yeah, we all know.
No, that wasn't him.
He's buying drinks.
Matter of
next
fact,
time.
he did. Yeah, he could buy us all around. But he was my example. He played at Furman, not a big school, but he interned in his off time.
Okay.
Ended up getting a job when he left and did very well for himself. I was like, well, college football didn't cheat him anything. But what you just said changed me. And I think kind of working with Joe Hamilton on the Sports X on the Home Team and Hamilton show, working with a guy who was a big-time guy who could have made a lot of money off of his name, image, and license and likeness, even if he just sold T-shirts, was how does it impact me? If today everybody passes a law and every student-athlete gets $1 million, how does that impact me?
Not one
if
bit.
they don't get a nickel, how does it impact me? It doesn't. So kids who can, why shouldn't they? And so when I hear Tim Tebow giving his opinion of why you shouldn't, guess what? If you're Tim Tebow, you don't have to have a T-shirt sale. You don't have to have a barbecue. You don't have to have a cameo. You can also choose not to get any money. But those who choose to use their name, image, and likeness, why would you stop them? Because it does not impact me. It does not impact them on the field. It does not impact them in the classroom. What is the harm and the wrong?
Tebow was the extreme, and what Tim said maybe goes for him, and I can't speak for him, and he spoke his heart, and he truly believes I play for this logo and everything else, and that's fine. You can speak for yourself, Tim. You don't speak for every thousands of athletes.
Right.
Fine. I do think if we put up a Twitter poll, most people are in favor of these athletes should be compensated at some point.
I think it'll be closer to 50-50. I really do.
I don't know.
I think it's an 80-20 kind of thing, but I go back to the Pandora box we're opening, that I think most of these kids aren't going to see a dime. The minority of them will see the big money, and so then you still got a disparity. Like if we're honestly playing the violin, and these are college kids, and how do they take somebody out on a date and have a pizza and pay for that? Most of them aren't going to get this money. You get your stipend, and that's it. Like, I'm for college kids making some of the kitty. I really am, because I know these schools are making millions and millions and fistful of dollars, but at some point, I enjoy, and this is going to sound so bad, I enjoy the idea of it's all under the table right now, and I don't have to see it. And ignorance is bliss.
So
Well,
you're
at least that's honest.
So
I'm
he's
honest.
He's Nick Nolte from Blue Chips over here.
I am.
He's
Just
pay-
don't let me see it.
He's
I'm
paying
gonna-
Neon Bedeau.
I'm going to turn my back, and y'all keep paying them, but I don't want to see any of
Look,
this dirty money
look,
going.
Change is a part of life. Don't give them nothing used to be the talk. Now they got cost of attendance. Don't give them nothing when they get to the postseason.
They
Still
got a
part-
stipend
now.
now.
They get a stipend. So my point is, things change.
We're getting there.
This is a part
We're
of the change.
getting there.
When we get back, this woman tried to set an animal up, and he didn't take the bait. And we'll get to the Braves and the Falcons and what they should be doing this weekend coming up next year on College Game Day, live from Sports and Social in the Battery, Atlanta. Home team, Brian Hoyt, John Michaels, here on The Fan, 680, 93.7 FM.
Look, I don't know if it's a good show, but I have fun.
It's going to be
this is a blast.
I have fun. I
as
don't
the
care.
Braves and Cardinals take the division series
I don't know if
out
anybody
to
else
St.
likes it,
Louis
but I have
and the
fun.
I think it sounds fantastic.
All right, Rhino, enough sucking up from you.
All right, my bad.
And every pitch of
Oh, Murph said him too.
1-1 to Acuna.
And not.
Soaring. Deep left field. Way back to the wall and gone.
This is trash, and y'all know it.
For the playoffs, because only the Fan brings you that unrivaled flagship coverage.
Hard hit ball to deep right field. Heads up in the chop house. Gone.
This is the Fan, 680 and 93.7 FM.
This is Sarah Beth Brown with Brown & Company Jewelers, here with Brown & Company Ambassador Tom Glavin. We are talking about gift giving and how it can be hard to find something unique and special for your loved ones year after year.
One thing I do know is that if the gift is from Brown, it's going to be a hit. Brown & Company has the great wish list concept, where you can go into the store and try on whatever you like and create a wish list.
We have couples that create wish lists all the time. So come on in and create your wish list at Brown & Company on Holcomb Bridge Road in Roswell and Peachtree Road in Buckhead. Online at brownjewelers.com. See you soon.
Hey, you there?
And
I'm
I
here.
have been spreading the
We literally will only have about a minute.
Okay,
Duffy.
I'll just hit it
back.
and we'll get out.
Selling home.
All right, yeah.
Free of mine.
I'm just going to leave the music up behind you then.
$35,000.
And I need to
that's
be
take
out
home. That's
at
cash in my
55.
pocket. What is that?
Yeah, 55.
Okay.
We'll be back at about 53.
Ooh,
Honda has
butchered
done
that.
this year
Okay.
after year is simple. Duffy flexibility. The money you save
So we
by
have,
being
uh,
charged only $500 and then
so we
3/4
have
of
to be out
1%
at
when it's
55,
sold. It
we'll be
allows
back at
more money to
53.
stay in
So we'll
the
just do some
deal
quick
and
hitters.
makes for a quicker win-win for you and your buyer, and it gets a deal done. Secondly,
do
Rhonda and her team of Duffy experts by
Lions,
specialty
Braves,
wrote the book on what it takes
We'll
to
see you next
sell
week.
successfully. And third, well, your part's easy. Since Duffy does
We
it
never
all,
know.
you get to sit back,
This one
relax, and
changed
count
because
all
I
that
think Scotty-
extra money that you worked for in
Scotty
the
had
first
something
place,
originally, I guess,
because
'cause they went
money
113,
matters.
40, so
Call
this one
Duffy
changed
today
twice.
and let
Scotty,
Rhonda
or
rock
Lisa,
for you.
Scotty.
Duffy
Lisa
Realty
keeps
is
asking me
my
for it.
man.
I need to know next week.
That's what I was going to talk about. I was trying to figure out because Tech plays at
Window shopping.
Tech
I
next
don't
week
mean the
plays-
fun kind
But-
of window shopping.
but the
Two.
Braves could
I'm talking
screw
about
everything
have
up
to replace
Yeah.
those
if they're
awful,
still playing in
drafty,
an
rotten
NLCS at
things
that
in my
point.
house window shopping.
they would
Hi,
play
this is
Saturday. Would they
Candace
play
from
Saturday?
Reservations.
Yeah.
Because they play
I got a
Wednesday.
tip for
If the
you.
Braves
Does that start
play
Friday?
Wednesday, Thursday,
Shopping,
Friday
something
off,
you
Start
Saturday,
Friday?
want
Sunday,
to do,
Monday, yeah.
Not have to do. How? Well, for starters, we
We might
offer
not have it. I
lots
wonder
of
if-
window
the
options
show- I
in
mean, the show is
vinyl,
scheduled. We're
wood-clad,
supposed to have a
and
show.
PVC. And just wait until
Would
you
they put it
see
on
all
12:30?
the styles, shapes, colors, and
This
features
show?
of these
Yeah.
babies.
No,
The
but they put Tech
excavations
on
team will
12:30.
show
We
you
normally walk up
windows
to
that
Braves.
suit
at
you.
that
Oh,
point.
yeah.
They'll probably
Well,
make
you're
it a
saying
shorter
it
show.
won't matter.
So
All
Friday
that
and Saturday will be
Best
game 1 and game
warranties in
2 of the
business and our
NLCS.
own
So whatever
workmanship
time
warranty.
Saturday will
Probably
be.
With
It'll be a
excavations,
short
you
show.
get your
Night.
new windows installed on time.
But I'm thinking that'll
on
be a
budget,
night
and
game.
without
Yeah,
all
that's what I'm
that
saying.
stress.
So, yeah,
Let me see the
it might not
usually
affect
You're
the
about
Dodgers.
construction.
When
Ready
Because
to
of the
window
Dodgers.
shop the
Yeah.
fun way? Schedule
It's
your
true.
free quote today.
Oh, yeah, it'll be in LA. Well, we said,
That's
assuming.
EXL
You know what?
Yeah, but you don't have to worry about those
If
night
we
games.
get there,
ONS.com.
let's worry
Wouldn't
about
it be
winning
wonderful
game
if your
3.
insurance company said we're going to lock
Come on,
in your
Brett.
rate for the next 10 years with no increases? Guys, Matt
So the
Sharp here to
ALCS
talk
will
about
also
my
play on
friends at
Saturday, so
Breda
you
Pest
could have a
Management.
4 o'clock
Yes, only the
game
Breda's
or an
locking
8
your
o'clock
termite
game.
I gotta go. I
every
gotta
year
leave
so you
here.
know exactly
Does
what
that make
you're gonna
sense?
pay.
Yeah,
How
yeah, I was
refreshing
just
is
thinking
that?
about it, yeah.
You'll see when it comes to
I mean,
termite
assuming the
control, you
Dodgers
have
are in
two
it, though,
choices
that
as
would
a
make the
homeowner.
Braves the
You
late
can get
game,
base
probably.
stations
Yes,
placed
unless
20
the
feet apart
Yankees
to
are
help
in.
the blind termite.
Nah.
Finds it
Let's
before
go
the termite
Yankees.
finds
Yankees
it.
are gonna be prime
Or
time.
you can do
Yeah,
what I
but
did,
like,
protect every
yeah.
inch of your home.
On the
I
East
guess
Coast.
that's
fair.
the
Because I'm thinking with
The
the new
Yankees will get the late.
Well, then would the Braves play at like 9 or 10?
The company
Yeah.
has to pay a
Most
royalty
likely.
fee
No,
every
no, no,
year.
no, no.
Now
They'll
you know
keep
that
it
they'll
over
try to
here.
do station fees increase here.
So
Bet
if
you
the
didn't know
Yankees
that,
get in,
They'll play somebody will start
the
at 4 or
Yankees would have
5.
home. No, the Astros
the
would have
Astros
home
would have
field.
home field.
Breda Pest Management.
And the
Braves have
Dodgers
been
would have
around
home
since
field.
the
They're gonna
Braves
put
saw
they're gonna put
the
Astros
game
Yankees on prime time.
Yeah, and then the
1975.
first two games would be in LA.
So we would get the day game. It'd be a 1 o'clock start there.
Hey,
4
you can
o'clock
play that
start here.
Mino Lion song too.
Jonathan Taylor at halftime. Now, granted, they're playing Kent State.
Are you in the market
19
for
carries,
an auto loan,
186,
a
and
boat loan,
4
or even a
touchdowns.
personal loan?
Is that just the song, home team?
He'll be
Yeah,
in- he'll
it's
be in
a
Iowa.
it's a clean.
Because
It's from the
Georgia's
movie
is
The
local
Wiz.
and not for
Yeah, I got it.
Play
for
the
having
Snoop
better
Dogg
rates
version.
and
That'll be
fewer
better.
fees.
On the
Now,
Mino
30th of
Lion.
November, you can save even more when
So
you
what
take
is the
advantage of
Wiz?
their
It's basically a
multi-loan
black
So it was a
version
black
of the Wizard of
live
Oz.
play version of the Wizard of Oz.
All right, let me ask
It
you.
was Diana Ross,
Visit Georgia's own
Nipsey
Michael
Russell.
You
Jackson.
can't do that, home
And I'm
team.
one of
They
Georgia's
did it.
Restrictions apply. Offer valid.
That'd be like making a White Friday.
Why wouldn't you?
College up.
Isn't that Bill and
right.
Ted's Excellent Adventure?
Fans College
Isn't that
Game
Friday?
No,
Live from
not
Sports
at all.
and Social at the
Isn't that the
Battery
same
Atlanta,
thing?
Not at
the
all.
biggest college football station in the country. The
You can't
Fan.
remake a masterpiece
680
and just try to-
93.7 FM.
Welcome back in to College Game Day. Live from Sports and Social in the Battery Atlanta home team. Brian Hoyt, John Michaels. That song from The Wiz, the Mino Lion. We didn't have one. Did you see the lady that jumped the fence at the Bronx Zoo? Jumped the fence and started dancing and here, kitty, kitty, to the lion. And the lion was looking like, lady, don't get me set up. If I charge you, they're going to put me down.
Did you see why, by the way? She posted on Instagram earlier her smoking in the car.
Could be.
Do you know she's also been inside of a giraffe enclosure?
Yeah.
Yeah, giraffe ain't got teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they can use their necks.
I don't think they actually use her. They may kick you with a hoof. That's about it. I was cheering for the lion. I was like, come on, lion. Just do it.
I'm starting not to blame people doing these things for social media. I'm blaming the people who are holding the camera. Charge them more, and we will cut down on this kind of
Oh,
behavior.
no, forget that. If a lion's about to eat somebody, I'm filming that thing.
Yeah, I want to see
Yeah, but then they're going to kill the lion. The lion's just minding his own business, and then he's going to get hit with the sniper rifle.
I don't think they're going to shoot him. I think they're just going to take him and maybe stick him back out in the jungle somewhere.
1 minute.
I say let nurture. let nature do what nature.
Well, they give a lion a rifle then.
I'm
and see how
fine
it
with
works.
that.
Quickly, Braves, they get even. Do they win in St. Louis game 3?
I think they finish out the series in St. Louis. 4 games or 3 games to 1 like I predicted beforehand.
I think we come back here game 5, but I'm cool with that too.
Falcons have a must-win. They lose to the Houston Texans. They're 1-4. What are they doing? They bet not lose that
I got
game.
nothing on this one.
Yeah, they're losing.
That's all.
Sorry.
I think
Who's going
Deshaun
to block
Watson.
J.J. Watt?
Yeah, Deshaun Watson, good throw for 3 touchdowns, and he couldn't rush for 70
first
yards.
half.
Marcus Mariota had some lanes he could have run, and he didn't. I'm concerned. We're going to need Matt Ryan, and we're going to need Dan Quinn to save this city.
I got dogs 41-7.
I'll go with that.
I got 48-10 dogs
15.
over.
No, I'm not giving up a touchdown. 2 field goals.
All right, there you go.
41-6.
Want to say thanks to Rhino, Brian Murphy, Derek Thomas. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you next week. Thank you, John Michaels.
A lot of fun.
Here at College Game Day, live from Sports and Social on the Fan 680.
This is college football.
Great job, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Powered by Georgia's own credit union.
Welcome to Perk Up.